Good morning, everyone. I'm Ivan Okecho, a student at Ndeja University, so pursuing a bachelor's in information technology in third year. I'm more inclined towards networking, and that's mainly it.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Nsamba Marvin. I'm a year 3 student of Ndeja University, pursuing a bachelor's degree in information technology. I'm in my year 3, and I'm more interested in data science and databases.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mwanguzi Solomon. I pursue software engineering year 3, Ndeja University. I'm more interested in cybersecurity and machine learning.
I see there's so many techies in the house. So, this career day that we have organized, we are going to have conversations that cover you as an all-round professional. Many a times we go to university, you do the course, you finish it, you get your good CGPA, you get your transcript, and then you come into the outside world. Nobody tells you how the outside world is. But believe me, is it different? Very different. And you're going to need more than just your degree to get through that door. Getting through that door is one thing because you'll have your first class, but you need more to be able to sustain your place. So one of the things we're going to be talking about are the skills you need as an individual to be able to shine and do what you must in that profession. For example, communication, confidence. You're going to have to be able to pick up the mic and speak, because for everything you're trying to do, you're going to have to express yourself. So, like I said, I'm a very interactive person, and I'll be picking up on anybody, each one of us, from time to time, to be able to just share with us. I just want to know, before we start our conversation, what your expectations are. There's a gentleman over there that says he expects to network and find people and connect with people and have conversations that definitely should change his life this morning. But I need to hear from a lady. What are your expectations today? Lady in brown, I see you're reading the program to make sure if there is anything we've missed, you tell us and we adjust. So, what are your expectations today? Woke up and said today, what are you going to do on Thursday? On Thursday, I have a career I'm going to attend. Tell me what it is that you're expecting today.
My name is Kimberly Dreda. I do software. Yeah, my expectation I'd come to know much about in the IT world, because I don't think it's everything what we study. I wanted to get another perspective.
Definitely, you're in the right place. Hello, so how are you? You fine? What are you looking forward to today?
Good morning. My name is Drake, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of what's with technology, how it's advancing each and every time. Because what we found as we're growing is not what is there right now, and it's changing rapidly. It's changing each and every day. So I've come to see more of how it is doing, like how it's growing from people that are in the outside world.
So yesterday, I don't know how many of us are aware of this, but tomorrow is World IP Day. And intellectual property is something that I'm very passionate about. And considering I'm in a room full of coders, software engineers, you're the people doing the groundwork. So I want to just ask a simple question. As a software engineer, Every profession has an ecosystem. I want to see how many of us here understand what entails our ecosystem. But before that, I'll ask, how many of us know what intellectual property is? How many of us, does anyone have a clue? Even just from the word intellectual property. Does somebody want to try? By the way, in this room, when you answer, you don't stay the same. Like I say, there are people in this room that are watching you. So you just can't stay the same. Does somebody want to try? From the literal word, intellectual property. Nobody? Now if you find out what the person who answers is going to receive, I don't know. I don't know. You'll say, I wish I tried. Yes, please, just try.
Good morning. Yeah, I perceive intellectual, the word intellectual as knowledge and extensive knowledge about something. And then property is basically something you own. So intellectual property, I think, to put it together might be, if they ask me what is your intellectual property, or if they ask someone, I would perceive it as they're asking them, what is your extensive knowledge about something? Yeah.
Could you please clap for him? Since the rest of us have decided to be on the receiving end. So, like I mentioned, tomorrow is World IP Day. So intellectual property, that's not where I want to drive the conversation. But as we are having these conversations, I want you to just pay keen attention, because one of the things we are going to discuss is how your ecosystem looks like. Yes, you want to be a software engineer. Yes, you want to be a software coder, you want to get into technology, but that's not all you need. You need an ecosystem. How many of you, let's say you're going to develop an app. I want you to give me just an example of the people involved in the development of that app till its execution, till the last point, from the first point, from where it starts to the last person. Does somebody want to try? Does somebody want to try? Okay, I'm going to give an example. I develop an app. I sit in my room. I code. Day and night, I'm coding. The app is done. Okay, I've developed it. Okay, then I say, I need to pitch it. I need money. I need an investor. I say, okay, I have an uncle. I have an uncle who must be knowing some gamba no goose. You go and tell your uncle, I have developed an app. The app is good. It does this. It solves this. It does this. He says, okay, I will call you. You go. You move around. You go online. There are so many grant applications. You go ahead. You apply. You apply. You apply. That's not enough. You're like, I have to do more. You call your friend and tell your friend, I have an app that's working. Do you want to work on it with me? He says, okay, let's do this. You and your friend start moving in companies. You start moving. I don't know how the story ends. Whether you get the money or you don't get. But you have run a what? A one-man show. I want somebody to tell me, ideally, what do you think that person should have done? Do you think they should have been alone in that journey? Do you think they should have involved a few other people? Which kind of people do you think they should have involved in that journey? Guys, you better participate. There is something, but I can't tell. I'll be cheating. I just want somebody to just give me a wild guess. There's a lady here that looks so keenly interested. Just give me a wild guess. Just give me a wild guess. Who do you think that young gentleman should have involved in his journey after he finished developing the app? Just one person. I mean, yeah.
Good morning. My name is Eba Florence from Ndeje University. I'm pursuing Bachelor's of Computer Science. Yeah, about the developing of the software. When you're developing this software, actually you have to involve people, and you cannot leave out your community. You have to get someone from the community so that you can also look into your codes and see whether it is lacking some information. Yeah, that is it.
Thank you. So where am I driving at? Our conversations today are going to show you that it's more than just you. It's more than just you. You're going to need people around you. We have a team from Refactory Academy that's going to be telling us what they're doing to make sure that you don't have to walk the journey alone. I'm a firm believer that people go through certain experiences so that you don't have to go through them. But should you not look out for those people, I promise you, you will take 7 years. I refuse to take 7 years, 8 years doing something that somebody has already done, and yet they have gone through it. And so that's why we're here, to hear people's experiences, people's journeys of how their careers have been. I guarantee you one thing, that life during university and when you come out is quite different, very different, and nobody tells you. And there are some places that somebody can't take you. You just have to go. What saves you or what guarantees your success is the knowledge you have pertaining to where you're going. And that's why we're having this career day. We're having amazing people come and speak to us, tell us how their journeys are, so that when the time comes for you to set out, you have everything you need. So like I said, I urge you once again to challenge yourself. Refuse that you're going to come here and sit and listen and go away. Challenge yourself. The amazing people in this room, be bold, be confident, and walk up to them and speak your mind. Fortunately or unfortunately, we are in a generation whereby it's very aggressive, very, very aggressive. This generation is very passionate. I was having a conversation with a friend today, and we were saying how things have changed. Before, it was all about how good is your idea, you'll get the money. But now, there's so much innovation, there's so much creation. So, you must be able to run the race. Back to the ecosystem. Yesterday, we had the IP conference hosted by the Ministry of ICT, and Honorable Medi Nsereko said that most of us, you will sit and create your thing, and you leave it at that. And you want to do the marketing for it. You want to do the branding for it. You want to be your lawyer. For example, as a software engineer, I'm going to ask a question. Usually, when, ICT-related events, and I stand up and say, oh, I'm a lawyer. People say, so what are you doing in a technology? What are you doing in an IT space? You know? But this goes ahead to show you that, like she mentioned, like the lady mentioned, you're going to have a community, but you must have an understanding of what your community must look like. When we talked about IP, intellectual property, these are creations of your mind. Yes? These are creations of your mind. Intellect, the creations that come out of your mind, that's property. So, I will keep hinting on intellectual property as we keep speaking, but as a software engineer, as a coder, as a person in technology, as an innovator, I urge you, you must search out for information that pertains to your craft in its entirety. For example, yes, you're a software engineer. You're going to come up with a code. Do you know what it takes to protect that code? So these are the conversations we are going to have today. Experiences, things that people have gone through so that you have a better experience. while starting out your career. With no further ado, I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome Mrs. Elizabeth Ntege. She'll be giving us our opening remarks. Could you please give her a hand clap? We clap for people.
Thank you so much. Good morning. I would like us to move back closer. I know people keep saying there's no COVID. I know it's still there, but red eye. Okay. If you can, move closer so that you are in the faces of the people who you're going to be talking to. So, unfortunately, I wasn't prepared, but you need to be prepared in all this. So when somebody tells you. Of course, we are celebrating World IP Day. Yesterday, we had a very good day with the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance discussing the new toolkit we have for IP and how IP is important. And a lot of us speak about it in terms of ICT. But there's IP in manufacturing, there's IP in all sectors, creatives actually as well. And that's where the IP is important. But also, we looked at how it's affecting, how more men are having patents, copyrights, and women we are really sleeping on the job. We talked about things like how many women have been very instrumental in what? In IP and the developments that have come in technology. You know, the lady it's a lady who actually designed the radio waves that the foundation of GPS, Wi-Fi, and that kind of thing. The mother of internet is actually a woman, you know. So there's a lot of technology and internet property that women have done, and we are very passionate about protecting their rights here. So today, though, it's not about IP, it's about your careers in the ICT industry. It's about what you need to get out of it. I was speaking to one of our panelists and saying, we tend to focus so much on our subjects. And as everybody was introducing themselves, you're like, oh, I am system administrator, I am a coder, I'm a developer. But in the real world, you need to have an all-round, what do you call it? Experience. Yeah, I have 6 of young IT people who are working with me right now, and I'm hoping we're imparting real-world experiences in their lives and also in their career journey. So those are the things you need to think about. If you're going to be, I was also sharing that I met a young lady who wanted to be a supervisor, a team leader in a company. But when I looked at all her qualifications, she had 37 ICT certifications, nothing in management, nothing in anything that shows that she has the potential to be a leader. So we need the team from NFT are here. You can speak to them about what it takes depending on what career you want to take on. And also, we're going to look at specific areas like, our director, we acknowledge your presence. Thank you. So we're going to look at what it takes for you to have a successful career in ICT. So the people, I'm going to hand over. I don't know if you want to say a few remarks before I hand over to the panel. Director, let me just give you a kazindaro to welcome our people. And then I will hand over to Ivan. Thank you.
My apologies for the late coming. I was trying to find my boss, Mr. Richard, the Director for Innovations. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. My name is Peter Muramira. I am the Deputy Director for Business Development at Uganda Investment Authority. I bring and convey greetings from the Director General on behalf of management and board of Uganda Investment Authority. When we come for such a function, at the back of our mind, we are cognizant of two things. Number one, the key ingredient as far as business development is concerned is data. And when we speak data, we want to hear what innovation is all about as far as our target group is concerned. And which is our target group? It is now not news that the whole of the world wants to come to East Africa because they have heard that there's such a place as the Pearl of Africa with the youngest population, a population that has hope for embracing innovation and being able to power the other sectors of the economy. My colleague, Director Richard, is going to talk to us about what that space is all about. But for purposes of this day, on behalf of the rest of the departments of Uganda Investment Authority, Industrial Park Division, the One-Stop Center, which I invite you to interact with more often, the Division of Domestic Investment, and of course, Investment Promotion, where we sit. I would like to warmly welcome you and wish you good deliberations today. We know what ICTAU is doing. We are in support of the collaboration that is happening at the level of the leadership, and we would like to say thank you, and thank you so much for believing and working with Uganda Investment Authority, and let's get going. Thank you very much. Allow me to invite Richard, Director for Domestic Investment, to come and give his remarks.
Contact an SME. If you look at the profile of an SME and you feel you can provide the services to that SME, or if SME feels that I can get this service from this service provider, so it's an interactive platform. So I would urge you, the ICT Association of Uganda, to go and on board, but also encourage the members to go and profile on that SME portal. Because we are looking at different aspects. Apart from providing a service, there are other opportunities that you can benefit from the portal. In the space of, let me say, financing, we always put there opportunities that are available in credit access, grants, and all that. Capacity building, there are those service providers who are willing to provide trainings to SMEs. For example, like this one, if it is there, people can know and come and attend. We have market module where you can go and sell your products for promotion, visibility, but also sale. And we have so far around 20 companies that are trading on the SME portal market module platform. So not only trading, but even visibility. People get to know what you offer here and abroad. But also we have the depository of those businesses. From our side, we really need them because we want to do joint venture partnerships. We always get investors here who are looking for partners to partner with here in Uganda. And if we don't know you, what you do, what you want, what capacity do you need, it is hard for us to trace. So that platform gives us the traceability to know where these businesses are, what they do, what challenges they have, what support do they need, so that now when we analyze that data, we are able to come up with interventions. So I encourage you, the URL is called mybusiness.go.ug. When you go to the internet, just put mybusiness.go.ug. You will be able to onboard. You can onboard as a service provider, BDS, or on board as an SME. We've also added a module which is not yet complete youth apprenticeship, where we want to link the students who are leaving the universities to close the gap of employment, jobs, the skills you are lacking in your organizations. SMEs have got good businesses, but they don't have the skills. So these students who are leaving the universities have got those skills in different aspects. It could be accounting, it could be graphics and designing, it could be in agriculture, agronomy, all that. So we want to link the students who are leaving the university to the SMEs who are lacking skills in their businesses. As the students train, because they have theory in class, they will be getting the practical experience, but also the business will be gaining. After a certain period of time, you can choose to retain that student, or you can choose to let that student go. But at least the student will have gained the skill, but also the business will have benefited. So on that platform, the SME can go and put a call and say, I'm looking for a student in this area. So you put the skills, and the system will match the student and the SME. And then you will be able to get in touch with that student, and we will do some other facilitation on soft skills and all that. Then at the end of the day, the student will come and provide a service to you. So we want even to do other modules on that portal, because we have realized that some businesses are not credit worthy and not investment ready. So we have those challenges. So from that platform, once you're on board, we analyze, because we ask you, what challenges do you have? What support do you need? Then we are able to come up with interventions. So I would encourage you to go and on board on that portal. And if you have any issue on onboarding, you let us know, and then we support you. Then on other aspect, why do we need innovation? I happen to be one of the pioneers that introduced digitalization of agriculture value chain in Uganda. And you see there is that uniqueness of market expansion. For example, do we have Facebook office here in Uganda? Do we have? But how many users do we have in Uganda? So using innovation or ICT, you are able to scale across the borders. And even the cost of scaling is very minimal. So innovations help us to get out to more users, more consumers of our products without incurring a lot of costs. So now look at WhatsApp, look at Facebook, look at Uber here, look at Safeboard, and just our own Ugandan-made products here. So see how they are scaling, and the input, in terms of costs, they are incurring. So innovations help us to scale market expansion, but also considering the cost, even competitive advantage. There is a way how it puts you in your own space to stay ahead of competition. So I would encourage that ICT Association of Uganda, let's work together, because for us we have a reach to SMEs. Up country, they are grappling with challenges in terms of record keeping, in terms of inventory management, in terms of customer satisfaction. They don't know how to get feedback from their customers. In terms of market trends, they don't know how the markets are. So if you have those products, please bring them to us. Then we will help you to sell those products to SMEs. Because for us, we interact with them, we know their challenges, but what was missing is now which products are available that suit our Ugandan business environment. So if we have got those products, at least let's share, and we'll be able to sell them to our SMEs, so that they're able to solve those issues. They are able to reduce the cost of business, the cost of operation, and all that. With those few words, I thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Richard. Again, I want to greet you. Good morning. We've seen a few more people come in here. Earlier, our moderator told us that we need to know each other. We need to introduce each other. We need to network. And so some people came in earlier from UIA. I know we know the ICT team, and want to ask Director Peter, Deputy Director Peter, to introduce us to your team before we leave.
Thank you very much. Director Richard, thank you very much for those wonderful comments. Please let's appreciate Director Richard for that formal invitation that now ICTAU can come and do some business as far as the SME portal is concerned, but also the wider services of Uganda Investment Authority. I had already mentioned my name. The division is Investment Promotion and Business Development. By show of hands, can I see the UIA team in the room so that I can introduce you? Do you want them to introduce themselves so that the voices might be better than mine?
I'll pass the mic. Sorry, still.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Kara Komehanji. I work for investment promotions at UIA, and my background is ICT, although I haven't been practicing it at UIA, but I wish you all the best in today's engagements. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ngabo Simon Paul from the Uganda Investment Authority in the Investment Promotion Division. And this morning I found out the IC sector is my thematic area. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Was that a quick promotion? Yeah, thank you.
So we have sector specialists, and Simon has designated himself in that space.
Yes, morning, members. My name's Gilbert Okwamor. I'm an ICT support Uganda Investment Authority. Thank you
for ICT, and we invite you to also interact with them. Director Richard and I will be leaving, but they will be here through the day, and you can have more interactions. I think there's a couple more on the other side. Yeah.
I'm getting my steps in.
Morning all, Lilian Nansubuga, Uganda Investment Authority, and I'm so much interested in the monitoring and evaluation web-based system that was developed by Uganda Investment Authority. So I'm glad to be part of this event.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Barbara Nambia. I work with the communication team.
Morning, everyone. My name is Satya Mim in the comms unit.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Kwezi Sharifa. I work with the Business Development Department, Sector Head for ICT. Welcome to Uganda Investment Authority and our first National ICT Career Day.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hope Waira. I work with Investment Promotion and Business Development. Don't worry about how UIA is scattered. We are networking. and we are looking for investors amongst you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Joseph Yaounde is my name, Investment Promotion Unit. We are very happy to have you here, and we hope to have better and fruitful engagement with the ICT. Because you're the building team for the nation. Please let us work together to see that we have fruitful engagements. Thank you.
Anybody else?
So to the rest, today you will see many of us coming in and out of the room. Most of the staff are just kicking off their day, but they will be with you. Once again, very much appreciate your engagement for the day ahead. We also know that there's going to be a panel discussion. I wish you very fruitful deliberations in terms of questions, in terms of comments, in terms of very fascinating engagement as far as the innovation space is concerned. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, UIA team. Thank you for collaborating with ICT, ICT-AU, which is the ICT Association of Uganda. From the ICT side, we've got Gideon, who is our CEO of the ICT-AU. Where is Gideon? Stand and wave. So I also have Patricia here with me, who is in charge of membership. So if any of you are not members of the ICT Association of Uganda, please speak to her. She'll be able to clue you in. Now, so we can officially open the discussions and conversations that we are going to have. We'll start off with one of two keynote speeches from our representative on Private Sector Foundation, the ICT representative on Private Sector Foundation, Mr. Badru Ntege. You're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. That's not lively enough. You're looking for jobs, you need to be lively. Good morning, everybody. Great. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to actually share with you and in terms of what we can do in terms of career. It's an honor and to actually be part of the UIA National Ict Careers Day. I look forward to many of these, and it's an honor to be in this nice place. So let me just start talking about a little bit about myself in terms of career. I'm a manufacturing systems engineer who then moved into oil and gas, moved into, I run an ISP, went into an HR business, and now back into ICT in terms of innovation. So in effect, what we're talking about here is ICT gives you this core to be able to understand and be able to build yourself across the whole sector. ICT is more or less the backbone of most communities and economies, and it's getting more and more what that is in terms of the backbone. So talking about the digital age, and I said it's a backbone of innovation. We're touching sectors from agriculture to healthcare to finance, and looking at emerging technologies. AI, everybody talks about AI, but how far is AI going to impact us? You guys are the future in terms of how far that's going to change, what we're going to be able to do in terms of AI. It's just industries are reshaping, and Uganda is really, as we talked about, we're the youngest population. We have the opportunity to adapt, to take on things that the older generation are thinking about. We're not burdened by experience. This is what I know, and now the challenge is to all of you in terms of what can you do to ensure that there are no barriers out there. The other bigger challenge for all of you is the fact that ICT is no longer sitting behind a computer in terms of the network or programming. It's about being able to be part of the community. Let's now talk. I always tell people that if you really want to get impact in this country, you cannot have a talk and not talk about PDM. All right? I know people think PDM is a political conversation, but it's an amazing opportunity for ICT. The parish development model has been designed in a way that it allows every part of the economy. The parish is the lowest level of the economy. That now, if we start thinking about that, We're 48 million people in this country. 48 million. But for a long time, the economy in Kampala, the business economy, the activity in Kampala has been a radius of 10 miles from where we are today. Right? Most people tend to gravitate here. That's why out of the 1.5 million borders in the country, 400,000 are in Kampala. Right? We talk about the population in Kampala, I think 4 million people, the population of this city, right? And I think about only 1 million travels out at the end of the day, right? So everybody, but there's 48 million. There's this market out there that is 48 million that are using our facilities. If you look at MTN and the telecoms, mobiles, right? There's 20 million subscribers. They're all using an ICT device, right? But what are the other opportunities of that device in terms of innovation? So look at the PDM, data management. Everybody's looking at spreading this. They put a lot of money in that. Data scientists, where are we? What are you thinking of doing in that space, right? And by the way, the beauty about ICT is there's no rule book. You know, when you go into medicine, there is a rule book to follow, right? When you go to agriculture, there is a rule book. Because if the season changes and if you plant out of season, you're affected. ICT has no rule book, right? We're all enjoying, I call him my cousin, ChatGPT, all right? There's a new version now on the phone when I don't listen to radio much in the car. I put on the chat conversation, I put it on the car, and I drive and I have a conversation, all right? But OpenAI came out because a group of people thought, okay, traditionally technology has been made by big companies. We have it and we all protect this technology. So this guy said, let's make it open source. Let's sit and make it an open conversation. But guess what? When they launched, it became the fastest ever launch of a business, right? OpenAI, I think they garnered 150 million downloads in a week or something like that, right? But the potential that is doing around the world, if you were following robotics before OpenAI, it looked a complicated conversation. Today we're seeing robots that are having conversations. There's a robot in, I think one of these takeaways in the US that has a robot making fries, right? Because OpenAI has opened the door, right? It has democratized knowledge. The question is, what are you doing with that knowledge? How are we here putting that into practice? How are we making it impact our communities? Right? How are we making sure? I was talking to a professor from Deja earlier and said, what are we doing with our students? Are you actually going out there in your communities, in the shops around there, and making sure that you offer a service? As an undergraduate, when we come to look at you as employers, we want to see what have you done, right? What experience have you done? What have you challenged as an individual before you come looking for a job, right? And there's a young man I see in Boise, and I just wish one day I get an opportunity for that young man. He sits there, he has a little stall, and what he does is he helps people download and get onto Facebook. He gets you onto your iCloud, and he has a little stall. And I've seen that for like 4 years, yeah? And he's in that community. He's a graduate from MOOBS, right? And it's a business, because I keep on checking on him every year. I've seen him for the last 3 years. I check on him. It's a stall in Boise, right? And he has grown, right? He actually makes money, right? And my target this year is to make sure that I think he's registered, because I gave him a target to get registered. But can you imagine how many little towns in this country are looking for somebody like that, right? Because the government is automating. Government is putting everything online, right? How many of us are saying, I want to go find a job in UIA? Can you imagine that you could be that young person with a stall actually doing that, getting people online as we get our services online. So that's in terms of digital communication and solutions. Financial technology, we've talked about that. Everybody talks about it, but 48 million people, less than 10 million with bank accounts, 20 million with mobile money accounts, right? What's happening to the other 28 million, right? What can we do differently as Ugandans who know our people, who know our culture, who know how we work in terms of making that difference? So in terms of, for me, it's really challenge everything you see every day. ICT gives us that ability to be the dreamer, to be the crazy person in the room, right? To have the most weirdest ideas, because those are the ideas that help you. Even as an employee, you need to have the ability to be able to present your craziest idea to your boss, right? Because that is what makes the difference, right? We're not looking for people who come in and keep the space warm and follow the rules, because sometimes we don't know what we want. As business people, I just need to look at the numbers. I just need to look at growth. I need to make sure that I can pay your salaries, make my profits. But you have those wonderful ideas that makes that happen. So what are the skills for the future we need to do? Adaptability, embrace change. It's the only constant, by the way. Change is the only constant, especially in our sector. Nothing stays the same, right? And I always tell people that 2020 changed the world. Any of us, even us in business, if we think we're going to get back to pre-2020, those are the struggling businesses that are going to close the next 2 years. 2020 changed everything, the way we do, the way we look at our businesses, the way we learn. So you need to think through that conversation. Then technical proficiency. You can't bluff your way in ICT because the results are a 1 or a 0, true? It's digital, right? So you need to make sure that you read. If you're a coder, you understand the code. Oh, by the way, now, ChatGPT has just changed the world, right? You can't deliver code which is useless. You cannot do that anymore. Do you understand? You do it and you pass it through and you pass it through 3 other AIs and they give you the answer. You have a bug in the system, put the code in, it gives you the answer, right? So why are you even accepting any level of... I had a lecturer in college who said, imagine you're on a hospital bed, you're about to get an operation, and the surgeon comes to you and say, don't worry, I only took 3 retakes. Right? I only took what? 3 retakes, but you're going to be okay. Right? He's about to cut you open and he's telling you he did what? Did 3 retakes. Do you understand? What we're looking for is that ability for us to go out there and say, we have the top brains in this country. It means that what you did at college, the knowledge you have today in your heads, is probably 10% of the knowledge you're going to need in your life. Right? So if you think you're the best, you have 10% of the knowledge you're going to need in your world. And the difference between you and us, we had to go to the library to find this knowledge. Right? We had to go what? To go to the library. And if the library was well resourced, we would get that knowledge. Today it's on a smartphone. How many of you in this room do not have data on your phone? No one. How many of you, right, probably don't have 50K in your pockets? Let's be honest. You understand? But you have what? You have data. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah? Knowledge is there for you. It is at your fingertips, right? Interpersonal skills, we've talked about it, right? Interpersonal skills are important. Gone are the days, we used to have a cartoon and we had what they call BOF. BOF was the network administrator. He was the most unsocial person in the organization, right? when the system was down, you had to be good to both for you to start working. Not anymore, guys, right? ICT, you need interpersonal skills. You need to be able to communicate, because sometimes you have this wonderful idea and you need to communicate it to somebody you have to get around. Do you understand that? Yeah? So you need to have those conversations. Then the question of ethics, ethical responsibility. We have had what has been happening in our financial sector, where very clever IT guys can change a few bits and a couple of billions move to the other side. True? But it's important. You need to actually have the ethics, right? Those ethics are important, and so let's just come back to those skills: adaptability, technical proficiency, interpersonal skills, and ethical responsibility. You hold a lot in your hands as ICT people. We rely on you. Companies rely on you. You hold the entire organization. A flip of a button brings down an organization, right? So that is absolutely important. So now we're going about how do you navigate your career. You need to explore internships, and you need to be ready. So another question for our young undergraduates or postgraduates: how many of you had a salary at college? In your years at school, how many of you had a salary? Right? None of you. You need to be prepared post-university to actually be able to share your knowledge for a little bit less, because that's the only way you're building your career, your experience. Get into an organization and offer your services, right? Because they're giving you a playing field for you to actually explore, to display. They're giving you a canvas to paint what you can paint, right? So I don't encourage you to ask, how much am I going to be paid, right? I don't encourage you. I encourage you to seek those opportunities that are going to give you the experience that you're looking for, right? I need you to create and not just consume technology, right? Contribute to it. Yesterday, Honorable Seriko talked about language translation, right? Today, AI has enabled us to be able to translate every language in Uganda, to be able to create a translator for every language in Uganda. I keep on saying that literacy has been, the concept of literacy is totally different. You can no longer say somebody is literate. If somebody can talk, somebody can see, somebody can swipe on a phone, literacy is what? Dead. The concept of what we call literacy is gone. Those are opportunities, right? Those are opportunities for us in ICT. So I could go on because I'm passionate about this, but also I'm passionate about seeing the opportunities and possibilities of what you are able to do with your skills, where you are able to take yourselves, your careers, but also this country. Uganda is in a very, very interesting opportunity. We are in the middle of an East African community. We're also, I always say that we're the United Nations of Africa. We actually have someone for every African, we have a community, not someone. We have a community from every country in Africa in this country, right? We're that welcoming. Those are opportunities. There is no African country, and I can literally say this with a lot of confidence, that has the diversity that you have here. So in terms of yourselves and your future, look far beyond the little challenges you have today. Look at the opportunities, challenge everything. Come in and be, you see, you have the opportunity to be brash, to be arrogant. Come in and tell somebody that I know I can change this for you, with a lot of confidence. I did that in my first job. I went to my boss and said, I did my intern here last summer and everything was good here. I was in a summer job. And this year, things are not good. And she looked at me. She looked at me and she was rushing to lunch. So she said, you put a proposal for me and bring it at 4 o'clock. I missed my lunch. I went back to my desk, put a proposal. 10 years later, I left that company to come back to Uganda, right? But 5 of those years, I was actually they forgot that I was actually an intern. I was a temp, but I was this temp who they would put on a plane and fly all over the place, right? Until I got headhunted, then they realized, that's when they gave me a job. But I was not interested in the job. Because I was not a threat to anybody, I had access to the entire company. That's the trick for a career. I will not tell you much about applying for jobs, because what we do at NFT is we get jobs, but personally, I've never applied for a job. I've created all my jobs in all my companies, right? It's because you have the ability to ingest. I can't ingest as much as I used to. Now I have my cousin, ChatGPT, right? But I used to go and read books, right? I became a telecom engineer. I could program a telecom PBX, but I never learned telecom in school. But at your age, that brain is just like taking in things, all right? So I would like to actually really, first and foremost, thank for this dialogue. Let's keep this dialogue going. But for the future leaders of this country, which you guys are, right? The world has changed. The world is looking for somebody. The world is looking for knowledge. The amount of knowledge we ingest every day is so much that you need to keep it going, but you need to have that confident arrogance. But without your knowledge up here, that confident arrogance flops. So in other words, every single day, learn something new. Look at a sector. You're open to the entire sector. You could go in agriculture, manufacturing, health, whatever you're thinking of, you're able to do that. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ntege. I remember that cartoon called Boff. Boff's favorite saying was, the problem is between the chair and the computer. And who was seated in that chair? You. Yeah, but those days are gone. We have, as Mr. Ntege said, AI and all the other technologies in the 4IR that have made our work easier. It's really up to us to be curious, to be innovative, to ask the right questions. Every time I speak to people in the academic fraternity, they are so against things like that, because they're saying it will stop people thinking, you know. These technologies just improve us. We rise above what we were doing, the mundane, you know. And so, as young people, don't take it as biblical wording. Take it as something you can investigate. You get more curious, you know. Yesterday, as we were discussing IP, Mr. Ntege put on his friend, cousin, and asked for the history of IP. And I didn't even realize IP started from Greece, went to Europe, and I don't know what. But it was interesting to know, you know. These days, you don't even have to read a whole book. It can read it for you on your journey in traffic here, you know. And you get the knowledge that you need. So let's take on these technologies that we have to ease our way of thinking and to expand our knowledge as well. So I'm also going to ask our second keynote, Mr. Stephen Kaitehawo from DHL to join us. Unfortunately, Badru has eaten into your time. Yes. So I'm going to ask that it is shortened as much as possible. Thank you so much.
It's very difficult to shorten something, isn't it, when you've planned for it? Directors Peter, Gideon of ICAU, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here today. My name is Stephen Kateiwaho, Head of Commercial, DHL Express. And I'm here to share with you what ICT has done for many consumers and also for many business owners. Now, I don't know if you can project. Are you able to project? I'll be as quick as possible. But I think there's some key things that need to be known to everybody. Now, I'm going to talk about cross-border e-commerce. How cross-border e-commerce has changed the world, changed the economic landscape. What we're seeing happening is really touching a lot on consumer behavior. Like our previous keynote speaker has spoken about how the landscape is changing. People are also changing. Ever since COVID happened, many consumers now are demanding immediacy. So it does not make sense to have a business when you're not online. Jack Ma, I don't know if you remember, all you remember Jack Ma. Jack Ma was a legendary, he owned Alibaba. Anyone heard of Alibaba? Jack Ma owned Alibaba. And Jack Ma anticipated that by 2030, 80% of all businesses would be online. And only 1% of all those businesses by 2040 will not be online, selling online. So that basically means 99% of all businesses need to be online. So if you can move on to the next slide. Herbert, could you help? Sorry, I'd like to introduce Herbert. Herbert is from DHL as well. Herbert is our ICT specialist. He's key in IT. He makes sure all our machines are working, and he collaborates with our global office to ensure that everything is in sync. So Herbert, thank you. If you could move to the next slide, please. So it's very important for us to define e-commerce. Selling of goods and services or digital products electronically through digital channels. Now this can be done by use of USSD, social stores, and the like. Now, like my previous speaker had spoken, ChatGDP has helped us know what e-commerce is. I shouldn't be defining it for you here. If you could move on to the next slide. What is more important, next slide, please. Sorry, this is a very interesting presentation, but I think I have to cut it short in order to get the message. So, next slide, please. Now, SMEs. I don't know if we were all in school and studied and got to know about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Previous speakers have been talking about searching for jobs, but I'm here more of you creating your own jobs. Now, Maslow's hierarchy of needs talks about the highest point. Does anyone know the highest point of Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Anybody? It's called self-actualization. When you reach a point when you can almost float, because all your dreams have come true. You're financially independent. Your business is thriving. Yeah? Now that's what I'm here to share with you young entrepreneurs. You've finished university, create jobs. Brick and mortar no longer works. You don't go and rent a place and put your products there anymore. Consumers have changed. The millennials don't want to walk outside and hunt for whatever you have to sell. They'll go online. Everyone is going online, buying things online. As I'll continue showing you now, 60% of these jobs are taken over by many of the millennials, and 40% of GDP in emerging markets is generated by you. So it's very important to know that Africa is generating a lot of stimulant for Europe to want to come and find out what we're doing, what we have. In Europe, organic products are very crucial for them because, the market there is saturated now. Everything is, if you go to a store in Europe to buy, let's say, a simple thing like chicken. Chicken has most likely been frozen for like 1 year. When you cut through it and eat, it has no taste. So that's what I'm talking about, something organic. Europe is looking for organic products. So, next slide, please. Now, when you talk about e-commerce growth, e-commerce is booming. In 2022, 900 billion cross-border sales were recorded. Now, imagine by 2026, it's going to be 4.8 trillion. So the opportunity here for us is to ask ourselves, are we part of this? Next slide, please. These are the things that trend a lot. In my company, when I see people shipping or people importing, we notice that these are the major items. Artisan, cosmetics, fashion. These are big boomers in the market. And we see a lot of that happening in our market. We see a lot of people creating African wear. This is being looked for. But someone goes online and realizes you do not have a way he can buy. You don't have a payment platform on your website. Neither do you have the ability to deliver. He will go off and you will lose the sale, isn't it? So it's one thing to create a website, it's nothing to make it interactive, isn't it? Let's move on, please. So these are some of the consumer behaviors that we've seen change since COVID hit. Your customer demands flexibility, speed, and reliability. I'll not go onto your website and you tell me that when I swipe my Visa card, I'll only get my product from you in 2 weeks. He doesn't want that. He wants immediacy. Millennials have changed. They're not like our generation, where when we purchase something, we'll be patient. But you people here, no, you're not patient anymore. You want your things immediately. So consumers are increasingly purchasing via mobile devices. Brick and mortar is no longer something that people are looking into anymore. Consumers do not want to walk to shops, like I said earlier. And 58% of global consumers would choose a retail store because of its delivery options. Now, if there's no retail store on your website, 58% of traffic onto your website will jump off. I don't know if you take time, there are investors in this room, if you take time to invest, build a website, make it interactive, and you have 58% of traffic dropping off your website because they can't purchase your item, because you don't have any delivery options available, that would be a disaster when it comes to business. So these are trends that we need you to know about in order for you to start and prepare. They say when you start well, you end well. Move on. What's the opportunity here? All businesses, when it comes to IT, when it comes to online, anyone, a startup, a B2B, a B2C, any business can go online. So it's not selective. You don't have to have a lot of money to open up a store. You just have to go online and be able to showcase what you're able to sell. And one thing about online, whatever goods you are presenting online, you must make sure that these items have a high definition in terms of photography. And they must be clear. Because once you go online and see something that's genuinely nice, but with a photograph that's blurry, there's nobody who is going to proceed to purchase that item from you. So starting is really important. You have to have quality when you're starting. Move on, please. So now, this is a very important statistics that I need to share with you. 91% of online shoppers are looking for available delivery options when you reach checkout. You know, when you go and click checkout, it will show you this is the price, this is how much it will cost to get to me. Now, 91% of these shoppers need to see that happening on your website. If it's not there, 45% abandon it. These are very serious figures. 68% of millennials will choose your website simply because you have a delivery option. You know, Africa, we have, we're unfortunate that many a times in the past, when someone purchases something from you, it doesn't get to you, yet you've already paid. So nobody is willing to send you money unless you have a credible, reliable delivery option available. So these are important things you need to know. You don't just set up a website, you have to make sure these small articles are taken care of. Move on, please. And how many customers value speed over cost? Millennials, Generation Z, Generation Y, all the generations you know about have changed the way they think. Many of them value speed over any other thing. How efficient can you get me my items? The landscape has changed. And the beauty about e-commerce is that when you swipe your card, you're paying for both the shipping and you're paying for both the price of the good. Move on, please. Now, customs is also a very important area. You cannot start cross-border trade without knowing what customs require. In Uganda, we are more of a tax collection. In many other countries in Europe, they are more of border security. It's less of tax collection. So when your goods are not properly defined, it's a big problem. You cannot say you're sending a t-shirt. They will want to know, is it a man's t-shirt? Sometimes, some countries that demand, is it cotton? Because they attract different regimes when it comes to tax collection. Let's move on. Sorry, I'm being quick, but all this can be, we usually have symposiums like this at DHL. It's good we're having a collaboration with Gideon. Now we can invite you for a more deeper analysis and understanding of the landscape of e-commerce. But this is just for the sake of giving you a preamble. Some of these things, I think one thing I'll touch on here is, I had the previous speaker talking about intellectual property, and someone tried to answer that previously. So when it comes to goods, intellectual property, how many of you have ever experienced situations where you buy something from China and it says Nike, but the Nike is, at the end, is Y, letter Y. That is now, Nike have invented a product and has sold. It is global. It is well known for its quality and its ability to do so many things. You can run 100 meters more faster than you can run barefooted if you're wearing a Nike. That's how best they have promoted it. So you are there creating a shoe and you're affecting that intellectual property for Nike. Many countries fine such people, and many countries don't accept such goods in their countries. So you'll find your goods being destroyed, and yet you've spent a lot of money to get it to your customer. So it's important to know these things. Next slide, please. Next slide. So we'll go into the descriptions of goods, as you can see, just for purposes of time. These are some of the things that we see changing in customs. Customs officers in Europe, US, want to look at the paperwork. They don't want to look, they have no time to look at, open up your package, because there are thousands and thousands of packages that pass through the ports. So they will not open up that. So if your goods description is not clear, your goods will be held on the side for a later day, when and as they find time to inspect it, and that could be a week later. Now you can imagine your customers swiped, your goods are supposed to get to you in 2-3 days if you use, for example, DHL. And then they are seated somewhere for a whole week simply because of this error. So these are things you need to digest and get to know about. Next slide, please. Barriers to customs. For example, you're talking about the ability for your website to be able to make payments, for someone to be able to buy from your website. Delivery options, you can have cargo, you can have courier. You need to have these options available to your consumers. Failure to anticipate customs duties and taxes is also very key. You need to know what customs and duties will attract when you send goods to different countries. Next slide, please. I'll maybe emphasize that on the next slide. Next slide, please. It's always good to know what de minimis means when you're trading cross-border. De minimis, by definition, is simply a threshold that governments place on anything that should collect tax. So Uganda's de minimis, for example, is $50. Anything that you import into this country that's above $50, they will hold it for formal customs clearance and most likely charge taxes in case it falls under tax collection. So in the United Kingdom, in the US, the de minimis is $800, you can imagine. So you can actually ship goods less than $800 and you'll never face tax collection in the US. So US is a very big market. Like I told you earlier, they are more of border protection than tax collection. So it's good to know these things. There are various countries that have different levels of de minimis, but it's always good to know when you start trading to know what you need to tell your consumer in order for them to be repeat customers. Next slide, please. Yes, how do you start? Well, Herbert is there. He was supposed to come down here and show you how to start your website easily, but well, that can be done some other time. Next slide. Gone are the days when you can only deliver within working hours. Innovation has led us to create what we call service point lockers. Now, service point locker, this is simply the way it works. When you receive your goods, you get a prompt on your phone. A code appears on your phone. So you can walk to any DHL service point, whether it's at midnight or on a Sunday, and punch in that code. The compartment where your goods are will open up. It will scan you to make sure you're the right person, and you can take your goods. That's how innovation has gone, and you are seeing this in over 161 countries happening, and we keep expanding that. So, like I said, millennials want immediacy. So we are responding to that immediacy. So it's good to know what's out there. Next slide, please. On-demand delivery. I think this is what we call convenience for your buyers. Your buyer can easily go on his phone and decide, I'm not at work right now, I'm at home. Can you deliver at home? I'm not at home, can you deliver to the neighbor? Can you not deliver today? Can you come tomorrow? And all at a free cost, you see? So you can control your delivery as well wherever you are, so that at least you get that feeling of immediacy. And many buyers are looking for owners of websites or stores that have this capability. Next slide, please. Next slide. So I think I'll now, at this point, almost close off and maybe play a testimonial for you on one of our very own Ugandans who has found a lot of joy in this. I don't know if you can please, the volume is important. One of our very Ugandans who have enjoyed this, they have gone as far as to create an e-commerce website. They've gone as far as to enjoy the fruits of e-commerce in Uganda. So if you could simply play this as we wind up. When I watched this, my skin crawled. Because, sometimes you don't think that it can happen to Uganda. But you find people actually excited in Europe saying, my God, I swiped my card and I got something from Uganda and it arrived in 3 days. Can you imagine? And he's telling all his friends and he's European. So Africa has an opportunity to grow in this sector.
My name is Brian Ahumuza, the founder of the A-Brands brand, that is the A-Brands collection, A-Brands Style and Fashion Awards, and now the A-Brands clothing. It was started in 2011. We actually marked 10 years in the fashion business this year. Over the years, we've managed to organize some of the biggest events in the country, that is the A-Brands Style and Fashion Awards. We've dressed celebrities, we've dressed different personalities. It's not just celebrities, the everyday person and everyone. And now we launched our own social media text. Anybody going to Dubai this week? But then we got so many challenges because we could call up people and then they don't deliver stuff in time. All this changed this year when DHL reached out to me and they said they wanted to partner with me and put my business to the next level. And I can say in just a period of 6 months, we got so many people responding, oh, now we can make our orders, now we can trust you, now we can do ABCD with you. So all I can say is it's been a blessing working with DHL, it being a trusted carrier around the world. How my brand has impacted on the community, I think it's in so many ways. Our Fashion Award show, we've had testimonials where people's lives have changed, small businesses have started because of our platform.
From wheelbarrow, pusher, this is the 9th one. Glory to God.
The vision of A-Brands as a collection is to see a Ugandan brand that is taking over the world. I actually feel good when I see somebody who buys my product without knowing who I am, and they just buy it because it's beautiful, it's authentic, and the quality is good. So for me, the vision is to dress not just Ugandans, but the world. Shop with us, and DHL will deliver to you all over the world.
Exporting less. So recently, how is an enthusiast in agriculture. Just want to let you know, those who are interested, DHL is pushing hard to stimulate this economy, and we're going to have the first ever symposium for vanilla growers, vanilla farmers, where we're inviting people from Europe, people from America to come here and look at what our vanilla buyers have to offer, or sellers have to offer. Because, you know, Uganda is, in Africa, is the second most viable location for vanilla, because we have an advantage of 2 seasons. Madagascar is number 1, I'm sure you all know, globally. Chat GTP can tell you as well. But Uganda has recently hit number 2, which is a big deal. I'm sure you've heard of tea symposiums in Kenya, where everyone goes to Kenya and they decide on what tea they want. So that is now similar to what we're trying to create here in Uganda. DHL is not just a shipping company. You know, we ensure that in order to stay in business, you have to stimulate the economy. So I hope you are all excited as well. And if we want, we'll take down your details. I'll work closely with ICTAU so that we can have deeper and meaningful discussions when we have time. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. I love the idea that it's not just a shipping company, but it's they've taken on the responsibility of stimulating our economy. As ICT professionals, it is our responsibility to actually stimulate this economy, because they are the consumers of what you produce, you know. And I like what DHL is doing. So there's a lot. I will try to challenge you to help stimulate our borders, you know. How can we make them better in delivery of the services that we are doing internally? So thank you so much for the support and the presentation. Hopefully we can get a copy of that for ICT's use only. I know there is IPO on that, but hopefully we can get that. So without further ado, I want to welcome Mr. Ivan to introduce to us our panel that's going to talk about a full range of activities, information, give us a whole range of ideas, especially around our career and how we can, as he started, stimulate the economy. Thank you so much, Ivan.
Okay, thank you so much, Elizabeth. Round of applause for Elizabeth, ladies and gentlemen. You guys are not enthusiastic. I don't know, Elizabeth, did we plan anything to make these guys more active?
Soon come. First of all, please, I apologize. Can we have a round of applause for Stephen, please? Thank you. Thank you for reminding me.
I was about to propose to give him a standing ovation because the man just gave this room opportunities. Because if you're in this room and you're a young person and you were watching that presentation and you haven't noted down an opportunity to innovate around with DHL, then I don't know. But I am hopeful that by the time we conclude, we'll be done. So how many of us here are 80 years? 80 years, 80 digits, 80 years. Okay, 70. Okay, like 65. All right, do we all have a pen and paper? Pen and paper? Just get your pen and a paper and write down what you would like people to say about you at 80. Let's do that in like 10 seconds, pen and paper. What you would like people to say to you or to say about you when you were 80 years. Yeah, we can use cousin GPT for those who can. But if you have a smartphone, just write it down. And you're going to just show it to your neighbor in like 5 seconds. We should be done writing. Okay, just stand to your neighbor and show them what you've written down. Hey, people are laughing. I'm seeing people just bursting out in laughter here. So sit with that. I think when we're at the tea break, we'll get to know why we have just done that. But I'm so glad to be the one to cue us into the next conversation, a conversation that's going to see us speak about how we can be a part of these journeys that we've just listened in from Badru and Stephen. So Africa's population, 1.5 billion people, but there are only about 700,000 developers trying to balance up that boat. In Uganda, it's even worse. Badru said 48 million people, but only 11,000 of us are actually building the technology that we need to scale this country. Do you think we can make it? 48 million, 11,000. Cousin GPT. Let's ask Cousin GPT. Yeah? It just goes to show that there is a lot more that we need to do as a country. And the people that are going to be speaking to us this morning are going to just demystify that for us. But probably before we get into that, just to tell you a little bit about Refactory. So Refactory is a software skilling academy that is betting its dimes on the young people on this continent, and particularly in this country, by giving them a chance to acquire in-demand skills. What does in-demand skills mean? It's no longer fashionable for you as a young person to sit with your parents and decide that you're going to go and study telecom engineering for 4 years and you have no visibility of whether the industry actually needs you. Yeah? Badru said he could code out telecom PBX. Back in the day, I could sit with an Arduino board and fumble with it. But Stephen, the industry partner, have you found out whether Stephen needs your Arduino board at his place? Is that what is needed in the ecosystem? So at Refactory, what we have done is that we've invested ourselves in doing the research that we need to do to help the young people that come to us with little, and this one I need to emphasize, we take on young people at Refactory that have little or prior knowledge around programming and work with them on a journey where we give them the tools and skills they need to be relevant to the industry. Because one thing that is coming out clearly for us in this day and age is if your skill set is not plugging into somewhere in the industry, then you're going to sit with your skill set for 5 years, 10 years, and you just will never make it. So it's becoming very, very important that whereas we teach these young people the fundamentals of software development, we are also listening to the industry. So at Refactory, what we do is we have built a skilling model led by and for the tech industry. So, very quickly, the conversations we're going to have this morning, there's this paradox that we have come across, and it's something we struggle with. The employers, like Stephen, are saying, we're looking for talent, we can't see the talent in the room. How many of us here, you can comfortably say, I'm a software developer, or I can write a line of code, or I can contribute to like a software project. How many of us in the room? There's a developer in the room, my God. Jackie, thank you. I was about to get worried. Yeah. So the talent will also say, there are no opportunities. We are struggling. You know, I've studied this course for these so many years. So it's coming down to a question of career. At what point does career connect, with a demand in the market? So those questions that we wrestle with, today I'm honored to introduce the following people that are going to help us answer those questions. So first off, I have the honor to introduce a very interesting lady. I saw her when I was starting out in my career as first of all, I was introduced. I don't know where is Daphne? She promised to introduce me and give me a standing ovation. Where is she? Someone get her. This is so unfair. But Jackie Ochola. So Jackie is a Ugandan tech enthusiast and business leader. She has an engineering and management background and has served in so many tech. I know these tech guys. Where are we together? Jackie Ochola. She has served in so many tech roles, so many cutting-edge roles in executive management positions, but also on so many boards of corporate and startup organizations, spanning the telecom space, banking, fintech, so much. So currently she's a general manager at Wave Mobile Money. But for those of us that also need to know, she's a non-executive director at NITAU. Talk about the people that are planning out the tech journey of this country. Let's put our hands together to welcome Jackie. Also to introduce the other person I have a pleasure of introducing is Henry Kevin Wava. Talk about excellence, various qualifications, spanning from business administration, financial management, accounting, computer science. You're talking about someone who, like Elizabeth was saying, did not only stay in the financial realm, but flew over into the tech space. So Henry has, sorry, just a minute. So Henry studied at Andrews University, and he also holds certificates in investment banking and finance, principles of stock exchange investment, project planning management, database management, and so many others. He's a CFA candidate, and he has over 20 years of experience in credit risk, 4 years of which he spent at SunTrust Bank. How many of us know SunTrust Bank? If you're in this room and you've ever looked for like investment funding, you guys, hey, these are the people. And he has executed credit risk functions there, mortgage banking, and several other areas, particularly in the capital markets, advisory roles, across various sectors. So prior to joining Stanbic Bank Uganda, where he served, he had spent 8 years focusing on credit risk analytics. But Kevin currently works as the managing director at Sunbelt Holdings, a Ugandan financial and credit consultancy. But he also sits on the board of the FITSPA. Who knows what FITSPA is in full? Those are the people that are in charge of. Who knows what FITSPA is? Let me see. Surely there has to be someone in the room who knows what FITSPA is. FITSPA, anyone? Yeah, that's homework. We're going to know what FITSPA is. But FITSPA is the financial. Let's say it together. You guys are waiting for me to say. So he is the vice chair at the financial. I'm waiting for a clever student. Guys, today, I'm not letting this pass, guys. Who knows what FITSPA is? These are acronyms you need to know, guys. Acronyms. Anyway, Badru. I see Lisa is being given an answer there. This is unfair. It's not acceptable. But anyway, so Henry has served as the vice chair of FITSPA, which is the Financial Technologies Service Providers Association. So this brings together all the financial technology service providers you can think of. These are the guys holding this economy, the backbone of our finances. If Henry there says, strike, all your money disappears, all your resources. So that's why I was very, very insistent on that, because it helps us to know the type of person that is going to be speaking to us. So let's put our hands together for Henry as he comes forward. And then last but not least, very, very powerful, because this person, if anything, before Jackie and Henry come into the place, if she does not wing you, I do not know whether you can make it in this world. But Jackie Namara is a marketing consultant and trainer with extensive experience in marketing and communications, public relations management, but also personal brand. She is backed by a successful corporate career that spanned FCMGs, fast-moving consumer goods, telecommunications, financial services. She's a chartered marketeer and also a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. Jackie is a co-founder of Sugar Cubes, a support group for children and families living with diabetes, which is engaged in education and advocacy. Today, Jackie runs Iguru Consult Limited, where she has taken her passion for marketing and training to the next level by offering businesses with marketing and various strategies, as well as coaching to young people that want to drive their profitability and sustainability and growth. Let's put our hands together and welcome Jackie Namara Rukare. Thank you. So bringing these people together is quite interesting, because it helps us have a conversation on how we as young people can then start to build out these technologies that Stephen and Badu talked about. How do you position yourself to start doing the work that needs to be done? And I will go with Henry first. So I know time is fast spent, but Henry, in about 5 minutes, tell us about your work and why it has brought you to this place, why your work resonates so much with the National ICT Career Day, in about 5 minutes.
Thank you, Ivan, and thank you, everybody, for coming over today. It's a pleasure to meet everybody. Again, my name is Henry Kevin Wava, and I'm excited to be here because of the ICT Day and the previous speakers who have spoken to us today. For me, mine is very different approach. I think it's more of about a discussion and a journey that each one of us is embarking on, especially the young people in the room. And how do we look at our careers? How do we look at opportunities? And how do we look at the future that is before us? As you've heard, technology has really changed a lot of things, the way we look at life and how we have to adapt, especially now that we're in a global village. I'm excited to share a little bit about my journey, as you know, as has been highlighted, especially in the financial service sector, but with main emphasis on technology. I started out in investment banking. When I went to the US, I managed to get into Wall Street, like everybody knows, JP Morgan, Wells Fargo. But really what the catalyst for me was one day my boss called me in his office and told me, if you want a good career, you don't need to look for a job. If you want a job, you go to McDonald's. And I asked him, what do you mean by that? And he says, well, you go in, you clock in at 9, and at 5 you clock out. That's a job. But a career, it's something you do every day. If I need you at midnight, at 3 in the morning, money doesn't stop working. From that day, I knew that I'm not looking for a job, but I'm looking for a career. So that was an eye-opener for me in terms of how to look at life, because you now need skills that need to help you do your job, even when you're not in a physical office. And this is back many years ago. So I just wanted to pause there a little bit and say that as we open up to discuss more details, Ivan can moderate and my other panelists can jump in, but thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Henry. And now to you, Jackie. Do tell us. Yeah, they had to do that intentionally. The room, people are not laughing in the room. But Jackie Namara, do tell us why this particular moment for you in your career journey and why you agreed to have this conversation with us this morning.
Thank you, Ivan. I was sharing I think it was it with Henry? So I actually started out, I would say my first paid job was actually in the ICT space. Looking around the room, most of you probably are too young to remember, there was a company called Rank Consult. It was the first company that provided what I would call a professional computer applications training. And that was a job I got during my S6 vacation. So you are so lucky that you've learned how to use things like Microsoft Office in an environment where it's what they call a graphical user interface. For us, we are the old DOS-based generation. So I don't know if any of you have ever heard of something called Word Perfect. Yeah, so those who know, you had to learn all the function keys. It was F1, and then there's Shift F1, then Control F1, then Shift Control F1, and all of those had things they did, and it was the full range up to, I think, F10 or something on the keyboard. So that was my first foray into the world of ICT, and I actually did a bit of programming in COBOL and BASIC. So I know a thing or two, but it's really old now from way back when. But what that opportunity allowed me to do was it exposed us to a world that we didn't know existed, because up until that time, we were very analog. Information came from a book, a newspaper, radio, television, and we were just really starting to understand the world that the internet would open up for us. Now, the skills that I acquired during that vacation period, I continued to use even while I was at Makerere. So I had a side hustle, as you call it these days. So one of the partners of that particular company was a statistician, so he used to get a lot of research work. So my first paid job with a salary was as a data entry clerk. Used to pay 30,000 shillings per month. I know some of you are thinking, huh? What? 30K only? But in those days, that was a small fortune for a campus student. But that curiosity to learn a different world and to get exposed to different individuals coming through for those training sessions was, I think, a skill that has taken me throughout life. I always tell people that I came into marketing by accident. I was doing my MBA in Australia and attended, because marketing was one of the mandatory courses you had to attend, so I attended the class. And I hadn't appreciated the sociology I had done in my first degree until that particular class, because in sociology you learn about how to influence human behavior. But it had never really clicked for me in a practical way, the way it did in that MBA class. And once I got into the world of marketing, I was hooked, and here we are today. So the bulk of my career has been spent in marketing roles. But because I've been able to work in different industries, I have had the opportunity to apply marketing in different ways. And that requires that you have that flexibility to not just think about your technical competence the way you think about something like the 10 Commandments. It's not written in stone. It's the ability to be fluid and to adapt within every sector. But I think for me, even more importantly, is how to then take that understanding and apply it in a social and what we call social development and health space. So as Ivan said, I am involved in diabetes education and advocacy. And for me, the attraction was, how do I take what I have learned in the for-profit world in marketing and apply that for health and social marketing? So that's a little bit about, I think you call it the James Wood story.
Lovely. We'll get back to that story and dig a little more to see how it can help us shape our careers. And to Jackie Ochola, please, do take it away.
All right. Hi, everybody. Once again, my name is Jackie Ochola.
The reason I'm here today is because I am in tech leadership. I'm in tech leadership having had several years of working in the tech space, largely in Uganda, learning through that space and seeing how the world has evolved and what I can then do towards creating a space that makes it possible for this country, for our people, for our economy to live in the future. As mentioned earlier, I started off as a telecom engineer, and I did that for quite a number of years, 6-7 years, then went into project management. But the part of my story that I think I would like to share about is what I would call the last 6 years. The last 6 years have seen me move on from the telecom space into software development, where I worked for an organization called Andela, and we were really, really big on driving software engineering as a viable career in this country. It's not one that is so greatly developed and yet presents vast opportunities for every young person in this country. Software is where the money is. I like to keep my eyes on the money. And so if you look at the richest persons in this world today, all of them are making money in the application layer. That is where you get in touch with the average person and enable them to do things that were not possible before. And so software development is a space that I got so keenly interested in. And the work we did at Andela was hiring young people into the program, training them to become world-class software developers, and then placing them with global companies to start building solutions across different industries. I then moved on into infrastructure space after 2 years, and after another 2 years, I moved into Henry's space because now, once again, I was following the money. I'm now in fintech. But the point I want to make there is that we are in a world where you need to keep reinventing yourself. What you have known, what you know right now, will probably not get you to where you need to be and to the place of influence if you only stick to that. I love what Badru said earlier. You need to keep learning. You need to keep learning every single day, learn something new. And then those of us in the leadership space, it is our job to try to create the environment that is going to enable you do that. I think the thing I want to say at this point, before we go further into the discussion, is something that I've learned in the tech space that I'll probably repeat later, but if I don't get that chance, I would have said this, that as you pursue a career, there are 3 important things. And these days, we are all really inundated with lists. 3 ways to do this, 12 things to consider, 100 things to do this, they are everywhere. So adding on to those many lists, I will say that as a young person starting out in your career, keep it at the back of your mind that there are 3 things that are important and are going to get you ahead at every stage of life. Simply put, know your stuff. Learn, 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 learn. Secondly, learn how to get stuff done. Okay? It's not enough that you know. You must be able to make it work. Use your hands, use your brains, get stuff done. And then thirdly, be good vibes, basically. You have to be good vibes. We do not want, bad energy around us. No. We want people to be inspired, but also to inspire others. We want people to be aspirational, dream big, think about what is possible. Believe that even if things don't exist today, it is possible to be part of creating that future that we all think is way out of our reach. And so the 3 things: know your stuff, get stuff done, be good vibes. Thank you.
And there we go. We have a motto for the day. Know your stuff, learn how to get stuff done, and be good what? Vibes. So if you have forgotten anything and you haven't picked anything, let's live with a motto. Now, to just sweeten up this whole conversation, I just felt we could just do this. Allow me to invite Mr. Raj Monga to join us at the front. Now, Raj is an investor and is here today to just really scout. And I hope you guys are ready to I hope you guys are ready to, learn and learn and learn. The reason I'm bringing Raj to the stage is we want to get into a 360-degree conversation around shaping career, but also getting ready for opportunities. So please have a seat. Now, let's start off with you, Kevin. And this question, I would like you to get into it as much as you can. Speak to us about the power of technology in transforming our economy qualitatively, but also how these young people can position themselves as tech professionals that also have quite a resounding financial acumen, and also critically an understanding of how to conduct business. Henry.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Raj Monga, and I am a businessman. I run a company called Gas. We are mainly into petroleum. And we have recently realized that there's much more to do into tech than to do into other products or services. So we have come up, like as everybody was saying, that we need to look for a space where you can enter and create opportunities. Like in my case, I saw everybody is burning fossil fuels, charcoal, firewood, and these things have a great impact on our environment, on the climate change. And I hope we all agree to this, that burning charcoal and firewood is not the best option for any country or any economy, right? So we decided to invent a new technology or introduce a new technology to Uganda by running cars on gas. The normal cooking gas, or LPG, liquefied petroleum gas. So we have introduced that technology in the country. And when we introduce any such technology into a country, we need more and more people. We need more ideas, we need more manpower, we need engineers, So we have a lot of opportunity in this country in technology, and honestly, to be honest, I was not prepared for this, I was just told abruptly that I need to be a part of this.
No, that's fine. Yeah. I realized I had skipped the need for you to just tell us about your work. So we will have Kevin answer the question I made. Sorry about the feedback. Okay. We'll have Kevin attempt the question I gave to him, then we'll get back to the investment questions.
Perfect.
Yeah, so Kevin, Henry, over to you.
Thank you, Ivan. Basically, for me, it's we need to talk about investor readiness in terms of the financial sector that we're in. One of the things is about service delivery. And like our previous colleague from DHL has highlighted, you have to innovate. You have to connect. And for you to innovate and connect, one of the things we're doing at FITSPA, which is in the financial technology space, and as you know, there's a new National Payment Act, which was issued by Bank of Uganda, the new regulation. This is helping us to transform from the traditional way of doing banking or financial services, where you have to walk to a physical branch and deposit money, withdraw money. Now you don't need to do that anymore. With the palm of a smartphone, you can send money, you can receive money. All this is being enabled because of technology, like Steve has highlighted. what they're doing at DHL. So with FITSPA, one of the things with the association is how do we create financial inclusion? The numbers that were highlighted a few minutes ago, we have over 46 million people. We have only about 10 million accounts. What happens to the other 20? How do we get them into the ecosystem? How do we enable the ecosystem to be fully integrated? And this is all going to be done by technology. Because now in the palm of your arm here right now, you can sit down, go to Cafe Java app, and order a sambusa, and they'll deliver it here in like 5 to 20 minutes. Because you have a phone in front of you. And that's the power of connecting. So for us to be able to look at financial inclusion, we have to look at the tools that are available and stay away from what you call the mortar and brick, the traditional way of, okay, call your houseboy or call the driver or call somebody, go to the market, buy this, bring it back. So you can see that time frame and the amount of time that you needed to do that is collapsing. So even in business, this is what's happening now. As you've heard, as your software engineers, how do we connect each other? How do we communicate? And how do we access that data and information so that you can make a decision that can make you money, not only that, but also can help you to accelerate other stuff. So one of the ideas is to look at a wider spectrum as young entrants into the market and see what skills am I going to bring to the table, what problem am I going to tackle, and how can I be an accelerator in that ecosystem. And that's where now you can see networking more than ever is very critical. The communities that we are in, it's all about communities. Problems are being addressed in the communities. Solutions are being addressed in the communities. Now, the first to the market is the person who executes. And that's what Jack was highlighting. Whoever can execute, whoever can deliver with excellence is going to capture the market, and that's where the market is going to pivot to. So in the Ugandan context, we have a very low income base, our disposable income. For us to accelerate the younger people to be included into the financial service sector, this is very critical. As you're joining forces, as you're earning a salary, taxes will be paid, you are able now to generate other incomes. This will now multiply effect on our economy, whereby now, all of a sudden, somebody has a disposable income of $200 at any given time, and they can spend that money with ease. But now, it's very difficult because of the way we are structured, the way the economy is, and where the future is heading to. So it's very important to understand how to connect the technology side as an application, but not also as a tool, but to solve a problem. Because if you're not solving a problem, the technology is useless. And if it's useless, that means nobody's going to pay for it. So on our side, we have to look at it and say, okay, how do we enable this technology to help us? How is it going to be applied? Is the regulation in place? And that's what we do at FITSPA. We go to the government, we talk to them, we enact laws that are meaningful, that will accelerate, so that tomorrow, when you have your mobile money on your phone and you wake up, that money should still be there. Not that your friend accessed your phone and hacked into it and moved that money around. So there's a lot of trust, there's a lot of confidence, and all this is about adaptation. So if we can adapt, it's very easy to accelerate, and to accelerate will help us enable the other side of the equation. Ivan,
yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Henry. And I love the fact that you conclude with the topic of, market rewarding, executing things with excellence, but also the fact that we need to accelerate. And this is why I would like Jackie, Ochola to come in, with her expensive knowledge in first of all, the corporate and setup environments. what are those key ready-to-work skills that you believe are most valuable, that these young people need to have with them? Because if we're going to adapt and accelerate, there has to be some sort of funnel, some sort of standard. So if you could speak to that.
All right, I will respond to this picking from what I call the structure of the ICT space. And to start that off, we all know that we've talked a lot about the internet today. Starting point is infrastructure. Infrastructure is the bare minimum. Without it, you cannot do anything. If we didn't have the infrastructure to bring the internet to us, onto our phones, into our spaces, we wouldn't be able to even claim to build or create anything out of the space that we are talking about. And so I want to talk about in terms of structure, because what I want to highlight here is that there are skills and also opportunities at the different layers, okay, of what I would call the ICT space. Although really ICT now cuts across every sector, and so I would say what cuts across as different layers of the economy, if I can even call it that. But let me restrict myself to ICT, where my specialty and knowledge and competence are. And so in the infrastructure space, you then need people who know how to build, who know how to maintain, who know how to operate infrastructure. A lot of these are found in largely telecom and IT companies, okay? We need people who can run the cables. We need people who can set up networking equipment. We need people who can then configure internet services that work and that work very well and that are optimized for use, okay? And so skills in that space largely come through formal training, but on top of the formal training, you then supplement with what I would call a hands-on practice. Hands-on practice comes through internships. It comes through apprenticeships, okay? And there are a number of organizations that offer these opportunities. And then moving up from the infrastructure, you then get into more of, IP networking kind of space, where you have all these Wi-Fi networks, you have cable networks, you have all sorts of things. Even that presents opportunities. And all the global companies that are running on the infrastructure have a layer there of what they call networks people. Networks people are the ones who ensure that these services are running perfectly at all times, okay? Skills in that space are also largely developed just like the physical infrastructure layer, and there are opportunities to actually attain these skills, largely still through formal training, through online learning, but most importantly, you need hands-on experience through apprenticeships and any opportunities that you can get to work. That gives you a different space. Then you keep going up now. People who work in the application layer. In the application layer now, you're largely working with software. And I think this is probably relatively the easier one to get into. Why do I say this? All knowledge, all skills that you need to become a good developer are available online, and in most cases, also for free. Refactory is doing a lot of what we used to do when I was at Andela. They are offering opportunity for boot camps so that you can go and instead of trying to learn everything on your own, you have an opportunity to learn with other people, guided by people who have been in this space and worked in this space for a number of years. And so I am a big proponent for software engineering, both as a career, but I also need to mention that we pursue careers to learn and to earn. We need to make money. okay? And so when you learn the skills that enable you to create, okay, we want to be an economy of creators. We don't want to be an economy of consumers, because then we are limited in how much we can make. And so this is an area that then presents vast opportunities. But then surrounding all these, I think it was Jackie who talked about soft skills. Badru also mentioned this. Surrounding this, we need to be able to communicate. We need to be able to talk to other people. We need to be able to sell these ideas. And so you see that it then has a kind of ecosystem where you have builders, you have creators, you have trainers who teach others, you have consumers, because also to consume you need basic skills. You can't just go onto a site and not know how to navigate your way. But we also have marketers. We have security people. We have the financial services people, because you must monetize what you build. And so in a nutshell, I would say that the skills that you need are both skills that you can acquire through formal training, skills that you can acquire through apprenticeships, through internships, through boot camps, through learning online, but then also they are complementary skills that you learn through observation, through communities, being part of a community and learning from people who are doing it and doing it well, okay? But there's also skills for survival. I cannot leave that one out, okay? Skills for survival include learning how to speak well, learning how to present yourself well, learning how to dress up well, learning how to put ideas out there, and learning how to sell these ideas. And so the key thing here is open your mind up. There is vast spaces, and within those spaces, very, 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 very many opportunities, and each of these supported by a different skill set. All right.
Wow, thank you, Jackie, for that masterclass. And I want to now come to Raj, and I'm going to really just put him on the spot here, because much as he's in the EV space, he's here in the capacity of the actual off-takers of this talent, yeah? So Jackie has, skilled you, probably Mr. Kevin Henry has empowered you with some sort of, financial modeling, but also opportunities in the space, and is probably working with people like Raj to, off-take the talent that we're building, yeah? So, Mr. Raj, you as the entity or as the industry partner that takes up this tech talent that we're talking about, I'm just keen to hear from you on how ready is the industry for this talent, yeah? Because some of the things that these young people say is that the jobs aren't there. So are the jobs there? For example, we could even use the space, the electric vehicle space. Are there tech jobs? Is basically the market ready for this talent? When we talk about being tech job ready, or even work readiness.
Thank you for the great question. Market is absolutely ready. We have immense opportunities in this sector, especially in the tech sector. Right here sitting in this room, I just got an idea. If any one of you can pick it up and start it as your new business venture, we do not have internship programs in this country. All of you as university students should, and you must get an internship, which is while you are studying, you should be given 6 months or 1 year training at any company, any business, in the choice of your sector, in finance, in tech, in software development, coding, anything that you have your interest in. And you get minimum stipend paid. So one of you can develop an app and get together all the students' database and the colleges and universities and put them all together at a very minimal fee of subscription, where the colleges can get employers or the businesses to hire their students on internships, or the students can approach, let's say, at a very minimal fee of 10,000 shillings, which a student can even afford. and they get to approach the companies, and the company get fresh staff, right, and train them. And later on, you grow in the same career with the same organization or a different organization. Because if today, if you as a fresh graduate go to any company asking for a job, the first thing they'll ask you, how many years of experience do you have? And you'll say none. And they will then look for a person who have better experience. Because me as a businessman, I would always prefer to have somebody who is experienced. And if you say that, yes, I have done 1 year internship in X company in this department and I've developed this, this, and this, I would be happy and I would be very comfortable to hire you, right? So one of you can take this up as an idea and develop a mobile application and a website, get the database together and do it as a business. And as you asked me for the opportunities, there's immense opportunity in this country. See, why we foreigners come here and invest? Because the other side, it's a red ocean. You don't want to swim in the red ocean. You want to come in the blue ocean. You want to have your own space. Like in the EV sector, I remember I was the first one to bring in electric cars in the country, right? Considering the fact that we have no electric charging stations, but the technology is so vast that they have dual charging stations. I mean, dual charging systems. You can charge from the station, you can charge at home in the domestic charger. Somebody has to start. Somebody has to begin from somewhere. So that now, since we got the electric cars, since I got the electric cars, so many other people, now we have over about 500 cars in the country. And now people have started investing in the charging stations as well. So the more charging stations come in, the more job opportunities create. So like City Oil Mandela has already installed charging stations for the EV cars. Government of Uganda has approved 10 new stations. So all these create a lot of opportunities for you guys in the tech, because everything is connected with the tech. You don't, I mean, when you go to charge your car, you plug in the car, you swipe the card, and there's no human intervention in that. It's all computerized. So you are the people who are going to develop that technology, interconnect everything with the systems, and integrate a proper solution for the public. And that's how it works, right? So I think there are a lot of opportunities in the EVs, in the charging stations, in app development. Like, for example, in Dubai recently, they have launched a charging station for the electric cars, which is on the wheels. Can you imagine? I mean, they are moving with a big generator on the truck. And if you are driving an electric car and your car runs out of battery, you can call the electric car charging company. They come with the truck within 20-30 minutes. They charge your car, and then you move on. So it's all connected with the tech, right? And we really need a lot of tech support from the, as we say, Uganda has the youngest population. And we have a lot of talent, but what we need here is perfection. Today, the world is moving towards service orientation, not just providing a service which is okay, which is somehow okay for public. Everybody is providing service. We need the best. We need seamless services in all the sectors, and I think that's the way to success. Yeah. Would you like to?
I mean, listening to the EV conversation, I always get lost in there because there's so much opportunity. But maybe I would like to now come to Jackie. So Jackie Namara, God, where is Gideon? He did this to me. Two Jackies on the panel. So Jackie Namara, you listened to Kevin talking about the need to, integrate all these different aspects to skill, basically. You're probably doing all these things excellently, and also from Jackie Oshola, you're probably you know how to build, you know how to operate, And then when you come to Raj, you've probably, you've been the best at this, you're the best developer, you're probably in class, you're acing yourself. But it all comes down to presentation, and it's something we all struggle with as young people. And it always leads us to rejections, even at times where you're probably not supposed to be rejected. You have all this skill set. So I guess my question to you, Jackie, is what role do you see personal branding playing in the career advancements of the young people gathered here today, be it in the tech space, be it in the financial space or EV space? We need to be critical about the fact that, yes, we can amass all these skills and all this knowledge, but then if we fail to present it, it becomes a challenge. So if you could give us some nuggets there. Thanks.
Thank you, Ivan. By show of hands, I'm going to say some names and then just tell me whether you know the person or you've heard of the person. Winnie Byanyima. Okay, I would be disappointed if there were no hands raised. LeBron James. Okay, still a good showing. Marquez Brownlee. Marquez Brownlee. Okay, not so many hands. This is somebody you should know because he's the biggest YouTuber on tech-related matters. Yeah, so someone who is definitely in your space and in your age group. And then the last person is, let's see, Michelle Obama. You're like, duh, of course we know that one, okay. All right, so what do these people have in common? They have what we call personal brands or person brands. And I want us to create a distinction between a personal brand and people who are celebrities or personalities. So for celebrities and personalities, those are people who have created or have a certain level of notoriety, and really what they're chasing is fame. But not many of them have substance. When you move out of that space where you're just looking for attention and fame, and you transition into what we call a personal brand, it means you can now start to monetize what you stand for. In other words, people will pay money for things that you are attached to, that you recommend. You have influence. And that's the point that we want you to think about. What do you want your personal brands to represent? Now, personal brand is the intersection of how you see yourself and how others perceive you. And it is not an easy place to get to because you have to have a certain degree of self-awareness, but also the humility to accept feedback that you get, because sometimes you might have a very inflated view of yourself, but that counterbalance of how others see you is a great way to balance out if you've given yourself too many marks on your self-evaluation. But the people you seek that advice to is important. So seek that opinion from people who know you well and who you trust and who can tell you candidly who you are and what you're about. So the intersection of those two things is what defines a person brand. I also want you to think about the foundations of that brand, and they come from a couple of places. The first is your purpose. Why were you put on this earth? What is it that you think you were brought here to do? We define purpose, mission, vision, and values for companies. But when you ask somebody, tell me what your purpose is as a person, not as an entity, very few people can articulate what that is. So I'm going to illustrate for myself. You're lucky. All of these things you can actually get to figure out because there are so many free online tools that can actually help you to craft your purpose, to define your vision and mission, and at least get together a couple of values. So I see my purpose as I was put here on this earth to create a positive impact through two ways, through education and through empowerment. My vision is to create meaningful relationships and exchanges between ideas, people, and organizations so that we can see a positive change happening in our community. My mission is to leverage what I know about business, marketing and communications to impact lives. And my values are integrity, passion. I put it in French, but it translates into the joy of life. I don't know how you can say it. Joie de vivre. I don't know how to
I was about
get an English
to attempt
equivalent.
my French.
And those are some of the things that drive me. So in everything I do, those are the things that guide my decisions. Now, you need to have that for yourselves as individuals. Because if you don't have that, you don't have a foundation to start. And it means anything and everything will sway you. But if you're clear in your purpose, your vision, your mission, and your values, those serve as your compass or your North Star that tell you what you will and will not get involved in. So that's the starting point. The other thing we need to look at are your personal and professional relationships. In your family, what reputation do you have? Do they see you coming and they think, oh, there Jackie comes. Who invited her here anyway? What is she doing here? Or are you the sort of person who walks into a room and they say, oh, Henry, you know, we've been waiting for you. Nothing happens until you're here. You're the person who brings us together. You're the life of the party, and everybody looks forward. Remember when she talked about good vibes? Jackie talked about good vibes. Are you the good vibes person? In other words, you might not be very boisterous and loud, but when you're in the room, you lift the energy in the room. There are rooms you walk into, and you can actually feel the chill in the air. Are you that person who is bringing... I like those cartoons where they show a person who is walking with a rain cloud and rain above their heads, and that's the energy they bring into the room, and then the person who walks into the room and it feels sunny and warm. So at a personal level, what are the relationships you're building? Are you nurturing those relationships, or are you taking them for granted? Because when the job is said and done, who are you going to be with? Family, which is blood, but also family who you've chosen, which are your friends. The second aspect of relationships is your professional relationships. What kind of reputation do you have at work? It doesn't matter whether you are cleaning a toilet or you're coding the most sophisticated application. What is the work ethic that you bring in all those spaces? When I was doing my MBA, I used to clean hotel rooms. Why? It was very good pay. It was paying, at that time, $13 per hour, which was double what the others were willing to pay. It was flexible. I could do it while I was not in class. But more importantly, I picked that particular job because one of the best places you'll ever learn about how to work with people and about customer experience is in the hospitality industry. And that's a skill you will need for life. So this thing of thinking that opportunity or that internship is too big for me, you're already setting a reputation and an image that you are not willing to get your hands dirty if it doesn't fit with why you were recruited. You have to be able to get your hands dirty and do what needs to get done. So what professional relationships are you building? Are you reliable? Can you be trusted? Do you get stuff done? I think you've all heard that Barack Obama clip. Be that person who gets stuff done. And if you don't know, it is fine. Ask. No one will refuse to help you. But if you don't ask and it doesn't get done, then you're setting the wrong reputation. The other thing to also think about in terms of those sort of four initial elements is if you have crafted your brand, share your story. There is no honor in hiding your brilliance. There is no one who is going to reward you because you're the best kept secret. There are also a series, I think, of videos I've been seeing mostly on Instagram, where they keep saying no one is coming. If you think they're going to discover you as a diamond in the rough, you're sorely mistaken. You're in the digital generation. For us, we are, I don't know what we are. We are, okay, we're not aliens, but we're not quite native. I think we straddle both sides of the world, and that's an advantage we have. We know how to translate. For example, I know how to translate stuff for my dad, who is 85 years old. But my brother has lived, the youngest in our family, has lived in this digital space all his life. So have our children. This is a totally different. I am still struggling to give verbal instructions for search in Google. My son uses the virtual, he speaks his search. I still type my search. So that tells you, but I digress. But you need to share your story, and you have the opportunity that the platforms are at your fingertips. So by show of hands, actually, let's do the activity. Type in your name on Google and see what it returns as a result. And then let's have one lady and one guy tell us what they see in the results of their Google search, or whichever search engine you'd like to use. I don't know. No, type in yourself, not me.
Jackie, you know at the UN we allow for abstentions. Can some of us abstain from the challenge?
Okay, who has got their results so that we can make sure the mics come to you?
There's a gentleman up. We could get a mic to him. Right, my right.
Right at the top, and then one lady. We need a lady. Gender balance.
Also room balance. This side, I don't know.
So a lady from this side. So we've got a gentleman
side
from here, but a lady.
The ladies this side don't trust their search engine. Eh? Yeah.
So my name is Cedric Otola. So when you Google my name, you'll see Uganda's Innovator Award winner, Airtel Moved by the Story of Cedric Otola, African Scholar Media, Inspiring Youth. It's a lot.
Okay, good. One of the ladies on this side of the room.
Here.
Ladies, we need to see the hands up. Don't cower from this opportunity.
We have so many pictures of him with his,
Okay.
with his awards. Yeah.
There is a lady here in blue, right in the center.
Okay. We're trying to get the people from this side because this side of the room has had a chance. Ladies from here.
Is there anybody on this side?
Well, okay, let's have you.
Let's first hear.
Mukeshman Evangelista are my names. When I type in Mukeshman Evangelista,
I think the mic is off.
Mukeshman.
Check, check, check.
Mukeshman Evangelista are my names. When I type in Mukeshman Evangelista, it brings out Mukeshman Evangelista in bracket Heneva hash. She's a manager by Heneva Bakery, head by 1 Minute South Gawake, something like that. Head and Makerere University Business School guest.
Okay.
It's not her.
Is it you?
No.
Okay. One more lady from this side of the room. I like that because it's going to prove a point.
Somebody brave enough? This side?
Ladies.
Come on.
Now we are just going to pick random.
When I type in my name, Patricia Namakula, my LinkedIn profile pops up first. Yeah, and co-founder, a board member. That's what's in my profile.
Okay.
It's me.
So her experience proves a point. First and foremost, is it you who shows up in the first result of the search you've made? If you have a common name, I have a very common name, Jackie Namara. We are thousands. So if I'm to go online, or if I'm to create a digital presence, I have to put all my names, Jackie Namara Rukari, because the chances of there being someone with all three names is slim to none. So this business of thinking you're going to be online under your favorite, I don't know, gaming identity, hotmama dot, I don't know, something, does nothing for your personal brand. So first and foremost, the names, as we say, your biological names, the ones on your birth certificate, the ones on your national ID, because that is a legal name. Make sure that's what is on your online profiles. Number two, what is on those profiles? What is the content? For all of you, at this point in time, you should have already started to cultivate a LinkedIn profile. If you haven't, start today. When employers are looking, where do they look first? Online. If you have other social media accounts you're in, you might want to create a distinction between the official you and maybe the other yous that exist. But these days, you will be found, because the picture is the same, whether it's the official you or the other, another person, another account that you have. But we have to be worried that of the content that we, or at least cautious about what we share on these platforms, because stuff on the internet lives for forever. So if you're posting those very compromising selfies onto your social media platforms, when that person from HR is scanning your profiles to see what you're doing, that might be the reason why you didn't get that interview. How many of you have applied for an American visa recently? Okay. There is now a section where you're supposed to fill in your social media accounts. So it could also cost you a travel or a learning opportunity because of the content that you're sharing on these platforms. So you need a digital presence. You are living in a digital world. Even people like me, who you consider to be digital dinosaurs, have had to get with the program and create those profiles that show a professional part of you, but also show a whole part of you. If I'm recruiting and I can only see things about your work life online, I have to wonder about whether you have other things in your life that interest you. We want to see a holistic picture. And the beauty of all these different online tools or platforms is that you can have different things you emphasize on different platforms. So maybe on your Facebook account, you tell us things you do socially. On Twitter, it's maybe where you do commentary about things that interest you. On LinkedIn, that one is more straightforward. It's a professional network. So we want to see your professional life. But between all the platforms you're in, I want to get an idea about who you are. And it's not about just the things you type, so it's not just text, videos, photographs. When you upload, please name the videos, please name the photographs. When you take a photograph, what does it, whether it's a camera on your phone or a digital camera, what name is attached to the image? It's a random bunch of letters and numbers. Search engines don't just search text. They also search images and they search videos. So if you have named the video and the picture appropriately, you will also be found in those spaces. So name that. Now, just some practical things around how do we actually build the brand. Jackie and Henry have referenced a number of those points already. First of all, what are the skill sets that you bring? What can we say you know? What is the expertise, the experience that you bring to the table? But also, tell us what is unique about you. What makes you different from everyone else? Even twins have different fingerprints. So we want to know what is that thing that we can only get with you, and try and identify what that is and leverage it for your personal brand story. We want to see that you're authentic. It is okay to be inspired, but don't do copy and paste of your role models, because what works for them might not work for you. And I'm sure you all know from your experiences online, one of the things people keep harping on about in those spaces is authenticity. You cannot be a Chiwani online. You will be caught out. It doesn't work. We're also looking to see in your professional and personal relationships, who are you associating with? What is that expression? Show me the close friends and I'll show you the measure of the person. So if your associations, when I look in the, I don't know about the other platforms because I'm most on LinkedIn, but one of the reasons, or one of the ways in which I choose who to connect with on LinkedIn when I get a connection request is to see who else has connected with them. Because I don't know this person, they are a stranger to me, but if I see somebody who I trust is already connected to them, then I'm thinking, okay, this might be someone worth. So who are in that personal and professional relationship space, who are your close associations? They say if you want to fly like an eagle, you have to be with the eagles. You can't be with the chickens. It doesn't work. Yeah, you have to be in that space. Then when you craft your brand, for those of you who want to create a visual identity for your brand, invest. First and foremost, please get professional pictures taken. I implore you, selfies are not professional pictures. Go to a professional photographer and invest in what you guys like to call photo shoot, and take a series of pictures wearing different outfits, formal, informal, business casual, and then you will have a range of pictures that you can use as your profile picture when you need them. There's nothing that kills the first impression like a poorly taken selfie. If you're saying, okay, I don't have money to invest, we now have all these AI tools that Badru was talking about, where you can put a picture of yourself and it will generate for you versions of. Of course, the difference there is that they really look generated. It's not the same as if you've taken a real picture. But make the investment, because you can't use those pictures for even 10 years. So please get a professional headshot done. Don't just do any which thing. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. Okay. And then have an elevator pitch. Oh, sorry, someone talked about networking. I can't overemphasize enough networking. Attend the events, participate in the events. If you're going to just be part of the furniture, then please don't go. Attend the events, participate, read up, have a target. Every time you go for a networking event, I must leave with, 3 business cards of people who I didn't know before, who are interested in the same things I'm interested in, and make it an intentional thing. Otherwise, if you just go and enjoy the food and the drink and you leave having gained no additional contact, again, please don't waste your time. Go with that intent to get to know new people and people who you're going to follow up with after that event. While you're networking, you need to develop what we call an elevator pitch. And the elevator pitch, you need to have like 3 different versions. The one which is really short, like 30 seconds, because that might be all the time you have. Then one which is a minute long, and then you can have a third version, which can be anything from 2 minutes to 5 minutes, depending on where you're going to use that pitch. So have those things ready.
Thank you.
The last thing I want to point out is, how many of you have ever eaten food without salt? What was that like? Yeah, it's not very nice. Especially when the doctor has ordered you to take food without salt for a period of time. That's when you really appreciate the salt. So when you're crafting your personal brands, I want you to think of yourselves as salt. Someone might not notice when you're there, but the absence of you leaves a very big gap. In other words, you want to make yourself so indispensable that when you're not there, people are thinking, how did we ever live without this person? But if you're in the room and nobody's feeling you, and when you leave, it's like they don't even notice, then that means your personal brand is not working for you. You should be able to leave and people keep saying, Kale, when this person was here, life was so good. Make that mark.
Thank you, Jackie. I mean, yeah. That round of applause is well deserved. I just now want to go to Henry, because at the end of the day, as young people, there's an interesting thing that, you know, listening to the fact that Henry was at Wall Street when I was like, what? I don't know, probably still. And how hard it is in this day and age for young people, particularly, say, from Africa, even from our country, to go into those spaces, to penetrate those spaces and tap into those opportunities. I would like you, Henry, to talk to us about monetizing our talent as young people. Yeah, the fact that, you know, ICT can be used to diversify our revenues as young people. I would like you to speak to, you know, offer us some insights on that intersection between technology and finance, and how young people can use that to really drive our, first of all, our personal transformation, but also the transformation of our societies and places where we come from.
Thanks, Ivan. I would say the financial world has changed a lot, especially in the last 20 to 30 years, and I think it's going to evolve even more now with blockchain and technology, cryptocurrency. A lot of people, I think, in this room are aware of what's going on. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, some of these things were unheard of. And back then, I think we were using networks, but they were not as sophisticated as they are today. But when you look at the evolution in terms of what has happened in the outside world, especially what we normally call Wall Street, which is money never sleeps. The capital markets in the world, basically, money is moving every day. I have been fortunate enough to work for JP Morgan, and I used to work in their capital markets division, where every single day, JP Morgan wires over $5 trillion a day on behalf of other governments and central banks in the world. And that's almost 60% of the global economy. That money is moving 24 hours. So all this money you see moving around the world is driven by technology. And I think some of you have heard of SWIFT. It's a payment system that the Americans use to transfer money internationally. And I think, Jackie, they're now more updated software with fintechs now coming in and breaking that barrier of the monopoly through blockchain and these others. So you can see that really what is happening in the world is there's a movement towards inclusion, and there's a barrier that's being broken. The traditional banks, the central banks, and now the businesses, and now it's going down to an individual smartphone, whereby somebody can have an app and access your cryptocurrency, and you can pay somebody anywhere in the world. So when you think about the evolution of finance and how it's accelerating business and why technology is behind it, you'll then conceptualize why is it that the emphasis in software engineering, in the applications, in the careers some of you are thinking about. How do you integrate all this? Then you also have to understand the business concept side and also how business is being conducted. You can now see very clearly that not one country can self-sustain itself, whether it's China, whether it's the US, whether it's Uganda, whether it's Kenya, South Africa. We are all interdependent. We need something from somebody. So what does that tell you? And I think that's one of the highlights I think DHL highlighted to us a few hours ago in their presentation, that connectivity. And if you understand connectivity, then you understand the essence of how things are done. And in finance, there's something called trust. And this is something that I want to emphasize to you guys. Trust comes from being able to be dependable. You have to have ethics. And without ethics, You don't have a reputation. Without reputation, nobody can trust you with any responsibility. And that's the currency in the financial world. So if you do not have a reputation and somebody trusting you, it's going to be very difficult to break through the barriers and also to be able to be included in a lot of opportunities. A lot of our young people are trying to get rich very quickly. You have seen somebody driving a nice car, somebody's flashing some nice clothes, and all you're thinking, oh, how can I access his account? How can I do online hacking? And now you're using technology for the wrong things. So this is very critical, that if you're disciplined and you're committed in your craft, there is a lot of opportunities that are out there that can help us in terms of evolving. So for me, the experience that I come back from the US that I got is, in the US, they're not very much interested in how much you know, whether you went to Harvard or whether I came from Kampala or from Pakistan. No. They only ask you one thing: can you get this job done? And if the answer is yes, they don't care. Don't tell me your problems, just get the job done. And one of the things I learned very quickly is I was trained on the job. I never did a PhD in econometrics or statistics, but you ask me to write a code in statistical modeling, financial modeling, I'll design a model for you that can predict what the financials will be based on certain parameters because of hands-on experience. Why? Because these guys collect data and they teach you on the job. And the best education I ever got was on the job. So that gives you a lot of information that as you're processing information and as you're learning a lot of these skills, this now equips you. So some of us made a decision to come back to Uganda. And the reason of coming back is to be passionate about young people. We are incubating a digital platform under FITSPA through Sunbelt. And these are things that are addressing some of the questions that have been asked here at this panel this morning of financial inclusion. How does the lady in the market access capital? How does the lady in the village who's farming be able to know what the price of their produce will be tomorrow? How much are they offering coffee prices in Brazil, so that when they're selling their product, it's all on the farm of their palm. So this is why I'm passionate about technology and integrating the learnings of the other side and then impacting it with our younger generations here. So I'd like to.
Thank you so much, Henry. Thank you. That is so deep. And if anything, I've picked that there is a need to learn in the job. So I know everyone is getting apprehensive. This is our last round of questions, and then we'll open it up to the audience for a few shots. You'll have to bear with me. We only get one National ICT Career Day, and we only get to have these guys for probably one day in there. And Elizabeth, maybe we can make these full days very deep, immersive, so we can really dive into the wealth of experience and knowledge that these esteemed people bring. So, and we're going to come back for the parting shots, but this is the last round of questions, so we can keep it very succinct. So, Jackie, again, when you listen to Henry's submission, you get very, I don't know, I get very teary, but I want to come back to you. This call for continuous skilling, upskilling, trust, confidence, so much around, being dependable, connectivity. It begs the question around what strategies do you recommend for one to stay competitive in industry? Yeah, I know we're at the National ICT Career Day, but there are probably a lot of other people in different sectors in the room. But the question of competitiveness keeps coming up, staying relevant in the conversation. What do you say about that? What strategies can you share with us? this was to Jackie Ochola. Oh God, where? Jackie O. Can I call you Jackie O?
Yeah, there are people who call me that, Jackie O. After actually Jackie Onassis, who I'm named after, incidentally. Strategies. One, follow people who matter. Follow people who matter and see where their thoughts are going, see the things that they are talking about, just so that you are in the general know of what is happening around the world and where the trends are moving to. So that is one. Secondly, I must emphasize, and this is really big in software engineering, be part of communities. Be part of communities of like-minded people of goodwill who are going somewhere. Yeah, there are a lot of communities. As a fintech now, I am part of FITSPA. When I was still, and I still am, there are many tech communities that are built around different software languages, that are built around different companies. There's a Facebook community, there's a JavaScript community, there is all sorts of communities that you need to be part of in order to stay ahead of the curve. 3, keep learning. Keep learning, keep learning, keep learning. Any new technology, do not miss the opportunity to at least get knowledge about the basics of it. Today, here and now, if you still haven't taken a basic master class on what AI is and what it does, there's one I can recommend for free. Yeah, there's one on Coursera. Coursera is a free learning platform. It offers both free and paid for services. But there is a course on generative AI. Generative AI, it is free, it's accessible. It gives you an insight into how it works, what it can do, what its limitations are, and how it can be of use. So anytime you hear of something, take the initiative to learn about it. In our economy today, a lot still hinges on certification. It doesn't matter so much in the first world, but in a lot of the third worlds, because opportunities are far between, it means to shine, to stay ahead, try to get certified. Try to get certified. It means you're going to dedicate time, you're going to put in the work to get certified in something. And so these are the ones that quickly come to mind and that I'd like to share. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jackie O. Learn. I hope many of us can sign up to Coursera, guys. Me, I've already written it down, generative AI. I have to, it's one that I'd skipped. I saw it on the platform, but I thought I would see it another day. Mr. Raj, so we can build all these technologies and do whatever we need, but at the end of the day, we need to have the right contacts, the right people to take us on, to shield us and give us the opportunity to actually make something out of ourselves. And for many young people in this room, we do not come across Mr. Raj every day. If anything, to have a site of you in Kampala, we would have to talk about that another day. But maybe my question to you is, what tips do you have for the attendees here today when it comes to growing their professional network, when it comes to getting themselves in the room with the people that matter, with the Henrys, Jackie O's, Jackie N's, Mr. Rajes of this world, with the Elizabeths, yeah? Such platforms are not very often held for them to be able to tap into. So what tips can you share for them to grow their professional networks?
First of all, instead of scrolling reels on the internet, we better start scrolling LinkedIn network. LinkedIn, I think, has always been and has been proven as the best networking app. And apart from that, within the country, we have so many organizations like Uganda Investment Authority. You can get in touch with them to get in touch with the companies, with the employers. And also, apart from all that, there are business forums. Like in our case, there is Indian Business Forum, which has over 1,000 corporates as a part of it. and every corporate at an average has over 100 employees, right? And out of 100, over 70 or 80 are the Ugandans. So you can always get in touch with these associations, with the business forums, LinkedIn's, and don't waste your time with people who are not successful in their own lives. I mean, when I say this, I mean, spend your time with knowledgeable people, with people whom you really look up to, and with people whom you really want to get along with, right? So these are the basics, and honestly, really stop wasting time on the TikTok and Instagram reels. I mean, instead go to ChatGPT and type, how does a motor operates, or how does anything work, you know? It has all the answers in the world. It has become so easy, and it has become so easy to access for everybody that you can get all the knowledge from internet. It can be really used in a good way instead of being used for watching reels, you know? Thank you.
Guys, get off Instagram. And you know, this swings into the conversation Jackie just had with us around how you are viewed. So if in the search Jackie made us do, the first thing that came up on your name was Facebook, you have some job to do this weekend. You have a lot of work to do. So Jackie, I come to you to conclude this round of questions, and then we take the parting shots. And this is a question that I've probably wrestled with, and I would probably want you to talk about. I know you really dived a lot more into personal brand and positioning ourselves, but there is this one thing that many of us have failed to ask. Mr. Raj has given me the opportunity. I'm in his company now. What next for me as a young professional? Yeah, I'm out of university. I've done the entire branding thing, and then Elizabeth or Henry or Jackie takes a chance on me and says, "Okay, Ivan, come on board." As many young people, that's a space we struggle with, and it significantly impacts our career progressions. So what do I need to do? What are those core things? If you could summarize them, I don't know how you're going to do it. What are those core things I need to do as a young working professional to advance my career? Thanks.
Okay. I know it's tougher now. There are fewer jobs, and you're competing. There are a lot more people competing for those jobs than it was when we got our first jobs. But I think the first thing for me that has always been core is a keen sense of curiosity about the world around you, about the space that you find yourself in. If you do not have that curiosity, then you will be content with what is presented to you, and that's the limit. And that's how people will see you. They will say, this person is only capable of this much. My dad has some interesting stories he tells, and he was talking about somebody that he worked with, and he said that if you wanted this person not to do anything, issue multiple commands, and you can literally see their CPU crashing because they cannot process multiple commands. So if you want them to do work, give them one command at a time. Guys, that world has ended, where you're only going to get one thing, or one, you might have been brought into the organization to do one activity. If you think that that is the only thing that you are there to do, you will not succeed, not only in that organization, but anywhere else. So the sense of curiosity I'm speaking about is when you are in that organization, get to learn about how that organization works beyond the area where you have been assigned. In organizations where they do this intentionally, that's what you call a management trainee period, where they allow you to spend time in multiple function areas. But most companies don't have that formal structure. You're the one who will have to create it for yourself. So speak to your supervisor and say that I really want to learn how this organization works, how it operates, how do we make money, how do we provide services. So I would like you to allow me to spend time in other sections or other departments other than this one, so that I can get to understand that. Number one, what are you doing? You're creating visibility for yourself in the organization, because they're going to ask, who is that person who has come from that department? And the fact that you're there offering yourself up as somebody who's willing to participate in work they are doing, volunteering for projects which are outside your initial scope of work, is going to help you to build those skills and those networks that you need. Even if they're not in that organization, those skills will serve you elsewhere. So that sense of curiosity. I'm a marketing person. I learned how to plan networks. Why? Because I was challenged by the engineering team. That time I was working for Celta, when it was now Airtel. And I was told, no, you can't tell us where to put the masts. I said, no, I'm the one who tells you where my opportunity is, and then you figure out a technical solution. And I was told, okay, you plan the network. If I had just put up my hands and said I can't do it, then I would have learned nothing. But the fact that I said, okay, let me take this challenge on and learn what do the engineers do? And that built a very good relationship between us and the engineering team. So be curious outside your area of expertise, and even curious beyond the normal work-related things. Be curious in life generally. Number two, what we've talked about, get stuff done. If you're told to do something, if you don't know what to do, ask. I can't tell you the number of times people have been stuck with things and they're too afraid to ask. We are not God. We are not all-knowing, all-seeing. Ask. There is nothing that can happen. Number two, be willing to make mistakes. Sorry, that's number three. Be willing to make mistakes. But in making mistakes, please make what I call intelligent mistakes. In other words, mistakes where you're trying out things, you're learning, and you're building on your body of knowledge. Foolish mistakes will not be forgiven easily. But if they're intelligent mistakes, where you have learned something from that, fantastic. Be a person of your word. So if you say you're going to get the thing done, do it. What is it in the army? They say what? Hakuna mchezo? No excuses. All excuses are equal, right? When you say you're going to do something, do it. And the commitment, I think it has been referenced throughout this entire time. That commitment to continuous learning. There's an expression, if you're too weak to read, you're too weak to lead. Guys, you have these things. Can you not find 15 minutes a day to learn something new? What he has just talked about. That same Instagram, TikTok, Facebook actually has interesting educational content. And you know how the algorithms work. The more junk you look at, the more junk you'll get fed. But if you are purposely following and looking at educational content, you will get even more of that. So you can still look at your Instagram, but actually be learning something, as opposed to looking at Kim Kardashian's latest exploits. Because really, how does that help you? That's it from me, Ivan.
Thank you, Jackie. So now we get into the parting shots. So we've had a slight tweak. We're not going to do Q&A. What we'll do is that you've seen the panelists. They're still here with us for as long as they can. So as during the networking, you're able to approach them. So within 30 seconds, each of you are just going to give parting shots. And we'll start with you, Henry. If you could also talk about the importance of industry networking for the young people in this room when it comes to positioning themselves for careers. In about 30 seconds, if you could.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you very much again for allowing us to speak. And for me, it's really exciting to fellowship with you today. I think this is a discussion that we need to continue having, and mostly around understanding our ecosystem, like has already been highlighted. And the takeaway is, for the young people in this room, is do not lose hope. It's just the beginning. But the most important thing is the tools are available in front of you, in front of a smartphone, for the knowledge, but you have to connect with people physically, and that's how you're going to learn. Thank you.
Thank you, Henry. And over to you, Jackie. 30-second parting shot. If you could also talk about how the young people can put all of these tools you've given them today into their applications, how they can showcase those as they're applying for opportunities. Thanks. Jackie O. I'm in trouble today.
Parting shot has to be my starting point. Career progress is going to come from knowing your stuff, getting stuff done, and just be a person of good vibes. In terms of putting all this together, I think this is a good starting point. We could never ever underestimate the value of planting a seed. And so whatever you have been able to pick up, think more about it, read more about it, reach out. Reach out, start from somewhere. Anywhere is a good starting point. Thank you very much.
Thanks. And Mr. Raj, over to you for your parting shot. You could also tell us about the EVs, what other projects are coming up.
Let's talk something more interesting about, other than EVs. See, the fact is that we need to look for excellence and perfection instead of knowing a bit of everything, yeah? For example, if you go to a normal hairdresser, they cut your hair in 10,000 shillings. You go to a celebrity hairdresser or who's an expert, they charge you even 100,000. So get expertise, get excellence in what you do. Secondly, look for a problem, because a business idea always starts with a problem. Once you see a problem, you find out a solution, and that's where a business idea begins, right? And lastly, my details are always available on my website, and I'm always available in case somebody wants to come and develop an app for me. I'll be inviting you to my office. You can come and do it, and at a cost you'll be paid for that. And yeah, we're always available for you guys, and it was really interesting to have this session.
Thank you, Raj. And finally, Jackie, if you could also tell us about how you're blending your passion for social causes with a professional career and how the young people can do that for themselves.
Perform. If you were to go online and search for a website, it's called Carbs and Cals, Cals short for calories. You will get all the European American food on an app. So someone can take a picture of their plate and it will calculate how many grams of carbohydrates that are on that plate and translate that into units of insulin you need to deliver if you were to finish that meal. We have no such thing for our Ugandan food. So when my plate has matoke, cassava, millet, I don't know, nakati, we need that. So that's a challenge I'm putting to you. If you're looking for a problem, I have given you one. We need to translate that into meaningful content for our local foods, which we can then use to support people managing their diabetes. So on branding, be authentic, be unique. There is only one person who can be you, and that is you. There is nobody else who can fill that role. The power of association. You want to fly with the eagles, you have to play with the eagles. You can't be playing with the chickens and expect to fly with the eagles. And then something that someone else had mentioned earlier, the power of reinvention. If the Jackie of 20 years ago is still the same Jackie of today, then something has not gone right. So where you are now is not a representation of what your future holds. You have the ability and the power to reinvent yourself every single time for what works for you and what is relevant and meaningful in the world. And I go back to what I said earlier. In terms of the brand you, I want you to be the salt of the earth. Omunyo. If salt is a bit difficult.
Salt, Omunyo. Let's give a round of applause to these esteemed men and women, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And I would like to bring this to a close, but before I do, Wilfred Mukulembeze, please wave to that's a colleague of mine from Refactory, and he's a programs lead. He's in charge of that unique work of upskilling and giving our young people a chance. Thank you so much. Elizabeth, back to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ivan, and thank you, our esteemed panel. I like what Jackie said, that if the Jackie of 20 years is still the same, there's something wrong. I'm so glad that I've known you for, other than Raj, I've known you for so many years. Jackie since we were 5, Kevin running in Kansanga together, Jackie here, we work together in UTL. So it's a pleasure. I can assure you that they have changed, you know, they have become a better people. So as Ivan said, they're going to stay here, and I hope also, Richard, you can join in the discussion, and Badru as well, to come to answer some of the questions that our people might have. But before we do that, we'll definitely need a picture moment with you guys. Can we have Richard and Badru join us down here, please? Stephen, why do I get your name wrong? I don't know why. I need to rename you.
Who is that, Richard?
This is, I know. Stephen Kadaiwaho, please come and join us. And Badru. So we can have a photo together. Yes, please. I don't know who is the cameraman?